What's up, everybody? Welcome to PSI Love You XOXO, episode 39. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the new face of video games, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
It's me. How's it going, Greg?
It's going well. And I complimented you before the show began, and it needs to be done on air. I said, did you get another haircut? Because I feel like you just got a haircut 2 weeks ago. But here's what I'll say. I don't care if you got a haircut last week, 3 days before this haircut. Whatever you're doing, it is working. This is the best you've ever looked.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. You know, when you hired me and told me that you were going to pay me the kind of funny money, that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to
need a second job.
I'm going to need a second job to live in this city. But I'm also going to get a haircut every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks is what you're doing. Wow.
I'm definitely not.
Wait, real quick, Bless. Have you heard about this thing that's going on with, I think it's Master Cuts, Super Cuts, one of those.
Master Cuts? Is that a real thing?
Yeah, I've never heard of Master Cuts.
It's the same thing as Super. It's the same thing as Super Cuts. Don't get all worked out. But $15 a month.
Wait, is it the same thing as Super Cuts because you messed it up and it's actually Super Cuts?
No, Master Cuts is
there is an actual thing called Master Cuts.
Okay. I highly believe that Master Cuts exist.
Okay,
that sounds like,
but
I would go into the mall.
Here's the thing.
Oh yeah, there's one at San Fran here. Yeah, there it is. Master Cuts. Oh, actually it says closed, but usually
it closed. That's where we used to. It doesn't matter. But $15 a month. $15 a month, unlimited haircuts.
$15 a month.
You can go every week.
Fuck up my hair.
No,
fuck up my hair.
Come on, they know what they're doing. Come on.
I went to Super Cuts. I went to Super Cuts once as a kid. Never again. They fucked me up on a level that I didn't even know was possible. Actually, was it Super Cuts or was it Cost Cutters? It might have been Cost Cutters, which should have been my first clue because they're called Cost Cutters. But
I used to go to Cost Cutters all the time. Here's the thing: you find someone good, you get in a good relation. 14 years I went to get my hair cut with the same woman. 14 years. I miss her every day. Wherever you are, right? Tina, please look for me.
See, here's the thing. Like, as a kid, I used to get my hair cut by my dad all the time. He was the one that took care of it. At a certain point, my dad moved to Nigeria to open up an orphanage and a clinic and do a bunch of stuff there. And so, like, I was left without a barber after a certain point. And so
that was the big downside to your dad moving to Nigeria. You were left without a barber.
every time he talks about his dad, I'm more and more interested.
I know, right?
We gotta do a show with your dad.
Yeah, you should. We have cool friends with your dad.
Definitely don't want me to do. We have cool friends with my dad. That would the first half of it would be us trying to figure out technology and us trying to figure out how to get him to.
We would tech that out beforehand. You know.
He also lives in Nigeria.
Yeah, we'll send him a box. Open the box. Everything's already set up.
I was gonna say, Mike Bithell lives in London. We can make things work with him. I don't see the difference.
I guess, but I just know my dad and technology, and I don't think those two things would mix together. But yeah, no, when my dad left, I was left without a barber, which meant that me and my mom had to figure out this whole hair situation. And so that's what led to me going to Super Cuts, because she was like, oh yeah, we'll go get or Cost Cutters or whatever. We'll go get like the cheaper option to get your haircut, because my mom very much a penny pincher.
Pincher, save a few.
Yep, she loves to save money. She loves to save pennies when she can and where she can. And so went to Cost Cutters. Very nice, polite white lady that cut my hair.
Sure.
And very obviously did not know what she was doing. Like, she cut my hair.
But here's the thing. Did you ask her? Did you look at her in the eyes and ask her, do you know what you're doing with this particular type of hair? Because
absolutely not. Yeah. And I should have.
You should.
I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was a kid. I didn't realize that a white woman from Central Illinois might not know how to cut my hair the correct way.
Very easy mistake to make.
Exactly. And so after that, like, I made the decision that I'm only going to either black barbers or barbers that can claim that they know what they're doing. Like, if you're good enough to where you're like, oh no, I've worked with this type of hair before, I might trust you. But I've hit the point where I have a dedicated barber now.
But how hard of a sell would that be to you if you are driving by? Because I remember when you moved here, trying to find a barber for you was tough. You talked about this. You were struggling before you realized there was one right underneath us that literally specialized in your exact hair.
Yes.
But how would you decide if you're just rolling through and you're like, oh, there's a beauty salon barbershop and they have a sign in the window that says, yes, we can cut black people's hair, and you walk in, it's just all white people. Are you going to be like,
if I walk in and it's all white people, I'm going to pause for a second, especially I'm definitely going to be like, I don't know about that. And it might be a thing where I go to Yelp, check out the page, check out what they've done,
and
that's a smart move.
if they've had good results, like because obviously they're gonna have pictures there, and so if the pictures look good, sure, I'll trust you. Like do your thing. Like I'm not against white barbers because I have had white barbers do a great job with my hair.
Sure.
Usually those white barbers are located in black barbershops, which is the thing because like like. If you're good at doing hair, you're good at doing hair. But it all depends on the situation. It's about research.
Do you remember the movies Barbershop?
Yes, I do remember the movie.
Do you remember the spin-off movie Beauty Shop?
No, I don't.
Didn't they do Beauty Shop?
Queen Latifah. I reviewed it for the Vox magazine in Columbia, Missouri.
Really?
Yeah, no big deal. No big deal. Everybody.
Why?
Kevin Bacon, great. They had movies, and if you wanted to go watch the movies and write reviews, you could. And I drew Beauty Shop that week, and I had low expectations because it's a spin-off to Barbershop, which I had enjoyed as well. But like, really, what's going to happen? Queen Latifah killed it.
I mean, I understand that. It's like when I went and watched, I think it was called First Sunday. There was like a Sunday movie that was like a spin-off of Friday, I think. And I watched it being like,
right.
Yeah, was it called First Sunday? I remember Cat Williams was in it. Yeah, I remember Cat Williams was in it. I had a few other folks that were in it. And
there was like a 3-year period where Cat Williams was in everything, and it was like, all right, that's enough.
Yeah,
that's true. I remember that period.
I love that period. Cat Williams, I feel like doesn't get enough credit.
That's right.
Yeah, dude, I went to that movie thinking it was gonna be bad. Came out of it being like, that was pleasant.
Not terrible.
Not terrible. Pretty funny. Cat Williams.
Can you throw up the First Sunday cover here, poster? Because this is a snapshot in time of actors here. All right. Yeah, there you go.
Dude,
great. That's exactly what I'm looking at. So Cat Williams, right there in the front. Tracy Morgan, Ice Cube. Then as you start to go back, right?
What's wrong with Tracy Morgan?
Nothing wrong with Tracy Morgan.
I just didn't like the attitude in which you said that.
Oh, I apologize. No, this was not a slight at Tracy Morgan. Tracy Morgan's great. He's great in 30 Rock. Big fan. But then behind him, the principal from Boston Public, whose name I don't recall, I apologize, but great on Boston Public, right? Across from him, a woman whose face I recognize, but I don't know where. I feel like she's just one of those character actors. She pops up in a lot of things. Then behind Boston Public guy, another woman who's a character actor who is in everything and always is delightful. But then across from her, I had to squint. Because that looks like modern day, and this isn't a race thing, a modern day Steve Harvey. But no, it turns out Steve Harvey from 2020 stole this man's look from 2008. Because that is exactly what Steve Harvey looks like.
Steve Harvey?
That is not Steve Harvey.
Whoa.
Hold on, we got to figure. I'm getting this first Sunday.
That blows my mind.
Because I'm not wrong, right? This isn't like my privilege showing here, right? That yeah.
I am trying to find a higher res image.
I mean, I just zoomed in. Look at it. I zoomed in a lot.
That is Michael Beach. That is Michael Beach, who
that's not
I've
Steve
seen
Harvey.
in a bunch of different things. But again, what I'm saying here is if you look right now, if you're an audio listener, pull over, open up the YouTube and look at where we are right now in the time code. And look, because that is exactly what Steve Harvey dresses like now on the Family Feud.
Mm-hmm. Zoomed in, it's very obviously not Steve Harvey.
Obviously.
Zoomed out, I could have sworn that was Steve Harvey, and I was like, I don't remember Steve Harvey being in that movie, but good for him. That's awesome. That's hilarious.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about PlayStation. This is PS I Love You XOXO. It is our weekly deep dive into all things PlayStation. Blessing and I come together each and every Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. on youtube.com/kindafunny. Podcast services around the globe to talk about all things Sony. If you like that, consider going to patreon.com/kindafunnygames, where, of course, you can get the show ad-free. You can get it with the exclusive post-show we do. You can be part of the show with your questions, comments, concerns, and your PSN profiles. And, of course, you could be watching it live. That's right. You could watch it live on Monday afternoon as we record it, just like Madeline is, Tyler is, Joe Kerr 9787 is, Joseph Hooper is. Joseph Hooper says, I went to Supercuts once, and let me tell you, no sauce in that haircut. That's not what you want to hear. That's not what you want to hear.
Not at all. By the way, Greg, who you were referring to earlier, saying this lady's and everything, is Loretta Devine, who know that, but is in everything, including I loved her in the Carmichael Show, which is a show that doesn't get enough love, featuring Gerard Carmichael.
Show?
Gerard Carmichael, comedian, who again doesn't get enough love. I highly recommend his stand-up specials. He has a special called 8 that debuted on HBO that is excellent. Like, I put him up there with your Dave Chappelle's and other great black comedians. He's very much like a more toned down, like chill, laid back, even toned kind of comedian. Wait a
minute. You're putting him on the same level of Dave Chappelle, who's arguably the best stand-up comic out there.
putting him on not necessarily like the level. I'm not saying he's the same tier or that he's.
Because I mean, you just said, just so you know, you just said that. Just so you know,
I did say something similar to that. I mean, like,
is this the show you're talking about?
Yes, the Carmichael show. Yes, yeah. And so the dude on the left is Gerard Carmichael. But I put him in like that same kind of ecosystem of like I guess maybe I'm just saying he's a black comedian at this point because I view him the same way I view Cat Williams and Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock, where he's so good at cultural commentary, so good at talking about black culture and framing it in a way where I think anybody can listen to it or watch it and laugh. Gerard Carmichael, excellent comedian. You should check him out. And Carmichael Show, really good. And that's one of the places I know Loretta Devine from. But she's also in everything.
Where can you see that?
The Carmichael Show?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not plugging it. They're not kind of funny.
You just plugged them.
I think you might be able to watch that.
That's where I know Loretta Devine was also on Boston Public.
There you go.
Boston Public, a great show.
I watched the Carmichael Show on Hulu, Kevin, but that was a while ago.
Thank you.
I don't know if it's still on there.
How hard do you think it is to get Loretta Devine on We Have Cool Friends?
I would love to have Loretta Devine on We Have Cool Friends. Are you kidding me?
Are you interviewing her or me? Or are we both doing it? Are we tagging?
You are interviewing her.
Okay.
Like I'm intimidated by every celebrity.
I'm looking on people now. It's helpful if they have a Twitter. She has a Twitter. She's verified too.
Okay.
All right. We're dropping a.
Also, she's been in like Medea stuff too, which you might know her from if you've seen like all the Medea stuff.
I haven't seen all the Medea stuff, but I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot.
I forget which one specifically she's in. But
I really feel like if you see one Medea movie, that's probably enough. You know, I just don't like. I don't get the gimmick there.
Remember when she went to jail?
Well, I was gonna say, are you watching the Medea movies or like the plays?
What?
You know, like you know how
play?
What?
Like you know how like they did like stage performances for like the Medea stuff, and then they made movie. Really?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no. Medea Goes to Jail started off first as like a play, and then they turned it into a movie.
That's fascinating. I think
that's the case for like maybe the majority of Medea.
Wait,
stuff.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, like,
so are you watching the plays? Where do you watch the plays? Can you plug them or no good on that either?
I watched the plays in 2006 on a VHS, maybe a DVD.
Everybody, whenever you're hearing this, whenever you're hearing this on Monday, September 28th at 2:14 p.m. Pacific time, I tweeted at Loretta Devine, can I interview you on We Have Cool Friends? And I gave her the playlist for We Have Cool Friends. So go like that and say, yeah, you should, Loretta. Yeah.
I'm shocked you guys didn't know about the Medea plays.
Housekeeping for you. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff up on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, of course, where we put up Kind of Funny Games daily each and every weekday. But also, Blessings Ben Helming First Impressions. Right now, there is a new one up that went Friday. Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2, where Barrett and Tim talk about that, talk about the roster. Before then was Hades, is it a Game of the Year candidate? And before then was some Mario game. We don't care though, because it's a PlayStation show. So whatever.
How dare you?
What's up next? Do you know what's coming in First Impressions next?
Probably Mario 35, but it's tentative. We'll see. Okay, we might, depending on anything.
Big week for games.
Switch up, but
you figure there's Crash, there's Star Wars, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening.
Exactly.
But they'll probably get reviews, hopefully, knock on wood, if we get codes. I'm not refreshing the inbox, are you? Why don't you, ladies and gentlemen, be like our Patreon producers, Mohammed, a.k.a. Momo, Get Healthy with Hiram at gmail.com, Tom Bach, Skin Tight Salmon, Jeffrey, Long, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, Sancho West Gaming, and James Hastings. Of course, they went to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames like you can to be part of the show, get it ad-free and get it with the post show, but they went that extra step to be a Patreon producer for the month and get their name read in each and every P.S. I Love You XOXO. Today, our sponsor is Upstart, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with topic of the show. Blessing.
Greg.
We have on the dock for P.S. I Love You XOXO a menagerie of possible topics of the show. Where if we're ever like, you know what, we obviously want to talk about the news and the information and all the stuff there.
The big topics.
Exactly. What are the things we need to be tackling when we have time? And this list has only grown and grown and grown because every week we come in thinking we're going to do one of the topics, and every week something crazy happens with the PlayStation 5 and we get going. However, this week, the worlds merge. Where I want to talk about the PlayStation 5, obviously, as we are here in the run-up to lunch as well. Can you believe how close we are to actually, hopefully, maybe having our hands on the PlayStation 5, which is a separate conversation.
Yeah.
Actually,
dude, we're under 2 months away.
When are we going to get a PlayStation 5? Because you figure Xbox Series X's, they're out there already. They're in the wild. People are using them. I'm not frantically checking my FedEx either. Don't worry about that.
Wait, what's up with our Xbox Series X?
It's coming this week. We're getting it this week.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about it. But again, this is a PlayStation show. They're dead to us. Who cares?
Of course.
When do you think we'll actually get a PlayStation 5? Because this is such a weird year where, remember PlayStation 4, the way it worked when I was at IGN, we didn't get them advanced. What we did is we all went to the event in New York, me and Scott Lowe. We each got one there that we brought back that were the offices things, but we only did that event a few days before the rest of the world got them. It wasn't like we had months and months with them. So it's crazy that these Xbox Series X is already out there. But again, it's 2020. It's a pandemic. It's a different kind of world. Do you think PlayStation is going to follow suit and we're going to get PlayStation 5 super early?
Super early? No. I think it will be like a 1 week, 2 week before thing where it is, hey, we want to send out Demon's Souls and Spider-Man Miles Morales PS5 and whatever like the PS5 launch lineup is, we want to be able to send that out for y'all to review. And I think whenever they're ready to start that process, I think that's when they start sending out PS5s. But I don't think I think the reason why Xbox is so generous is because they're pulling out all the stops right now, and
they got ground to make up, right?
Yeah, ground to make up, and like they've been doing such a good job of making that up, and like this next generation is kind of all about power, and it's all about convenience, and it's all about the SSD and the way in which they've gone, and also like for Xbox, it's all about an ecosystem. And like a thing to point out on the Xbox side of things is that backwards compatibility plays such a huge role into the Xbox ecosystem to where compared to the PlayStation ecosystem, yes, PS4 games are going to be backwards compatible, but I don't think that's necessarily what the focus is for PlayStation. On the Xbox side though, like all the units that media are getting of Xbox Series X's aren't coming with new games. They aren't really even coming with optimized games, I don't think. Like it's all backwards compatible in terms of the library. And so like
you figure for now, right? And as we get closer, those things start getting turned on, you assume.
Exactly. And so I think whenever PlayStation is ready to get into, hey, this is what next gen is for us, I think that's when we start to see people in the wild get PS5s.
Well, speaking of what is next gen to us, the thing we have that's on the front of our minds, Blessing, as the host of this show, and of course, as we're on this 2 month eve, right? Or not even, almost 1 month now, I say, just to make feel sooner, of PlayStation 5 being in our hands, is what is the launch lineup going to look like? And so today we're going to play a game, because we love playing prediction games here, Blessing.
Yeah, we do.
Predict the PlayStation 5 Metacritic scores for the launch games, Blessing and Greg edition 2020 TM featuring Kevin, the big dog, Coelho, parentheses, not in the photo.
I see. That's your title.
What I've pulled up here for you on the doc is the launch lineup for the PlayStation 5. I have pulled this from a site I understand to be reputable, IGN.com, in their wiki guide for what they are. So this is what they're listing as launch games in case something has slipped through the cracks or I missed it. You can yell at me, but really I'll save you the middleman. Go to Per Schneider on Twitter, at Per IGN, and yell at him. All right. He's the guy who did this.
I don't know if you should do that.
That seems too much. It's already done. It's already done. There's no undoing it.
It's just a chain of events. You can yell at me, but then I got to go and I got to talk to Per. If you just go straight to Per and let him know, you say at Per at IGN, and this could go either way. Let's just say it all goes right. At Parrot IGN, I wanted to thank you for PS I Love You XO this week. The guys used at IGN. Period. Everybody's happy. We look good. However, if you're mad about it, at Parrot IGN, hey, game X is missing from the launch lineup thing. Thought you'd like to know. Heard about it on PS I Love You XO.
I don't know if Parrot has any I don't think he has any involvement. Like I would think that this is I don't know, like a Joe Screbbles, Jordan Alleman, Jonathan Dornbush.
I mean, if we really want to cut out the middleman and you're going to sit here and get mad that one of your games isn't on this list, it's a wiki, which means you can go edit it. So I guess really what you should do is go to your bathroom and look in the mirror and go, hey, insert your name here. You're a fucking idiot. Why did you forget to put your favorite game on this list? Then you go to IGN.com and you go in the wiki and you add the game as the launch lineup. Now, also interesting, if we want to have a little bit of grabbler happening here, you could also then, after we talk about this, go in there and change all the games to launch games.
I knew this is where this is going. They're gonna lock this thing because of it.
Janet Garcia is just like, oh my, she's listening to this episode like, happening? Oh my god, she's in the company Slack or Trello now. Like everybody watch out.
Why is this the N64 lineup on the PS5 page?
So we have the games listed here, and we can go through and predict them. The question will need to be, will we need to do every one of these games? What are the criteria? So on and so forth. Blessing, here's what I have listed from, again, IGN.com@parrot.IGN, or email Janet Garcia. Her email, no, I'm not going to do that. Spider-Man Miles Morales, Demon's Souls Remastered, Bug Snacks, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Astro's Playroom, Destruction All-Stars, DMC5 Special Edition, Fortnite, Godfall, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, Observer: System Redux, Watch Dogs Legion, Maneater, Destiny 2 Beyond Light, and Rainbow Six Siege. So now as we come through, we want to talk about what we think these Metacritics are going to be for these games. Do we want to limit it to the biggest 5? Do we want to go case by case? But like Fortnite, do we give a shit what the Metacritic for Fortnite's going to be? And when it comes to PlayStation 5 version?
That's the point. Like, do you even think they review Fortnite on PS5? I think, like, who's going to do that?
I don't think it would be a review as much as it would be, hey, we played Fortnite and here's how it plays. And this is like, we already see it happening right now with the Series X articles that are coming out today for previews, right? Of like, it's about load times. It's about improvements. It's about that. You know what I mean? Last night, I was playing Avengers with Fran and Goldfarb on Fran's stream. And one of the things we were, because we're huge dorks, nerding out about was the idea of getting your PlayStation 5 home and wanting to play Avengers on it right away, just to compare and contrast if the game's running better, loading faster, all that jazz. So I think there's a bunch of games in here that you worry about that way, where I would even stretch it out to be like Watch Dogs Legion.
See, and that's kind of where I'm at. I would just stick with the games that are launching alongside like the launch lineup or near that. And so like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I can't remember the exact release date, whether or not it's coming out before the actual console or not, but something like that I would include because it's part of that launch lineup. Whereas Watch Dogs Legion, 10th. Okay, so yeah, that lines up. Watch Dogs Legion comes out in October, right? And so it's like,
yeah,
it's probably going to have the same score on both.
You would think so, that you would just, do that. But even that said, like, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a game I'm going to play on my PlayStation 5. And you know what? I say that. Maybe I won't. I'm sure we'll get code early on PlayStation 4. I'll probably want to be ready for a review when it's time to go. I'll probably play through it.
I mean, what about your save file? Because you're not it's not going to be a sure thing if that save file is going to carry forward.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that is a major concern for me. No, that's a whole bit different thing, which brings up Haley's question, who wrote into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and says, do you think saves from PS5 will transfer, or PS4 will transfer to PS5? Do you think saves from PS4 will transfer to PS5? This is already a fun show. I'm having a great time. I love you very much. I want you to know that I got in trouble the other day on Games Daily for something similar, where I forget what it was, but I was basically this idea. Gary asked me about being able to play games on your PlayStation 5 or your PlayStation 4. And I was like, theoretically. And everyone in the chat wanted to eat my ass in the bad way because like, no, they've confirmed it. And I'm like, no. I'm not saying they haven't said that this is going to work. I'm saying believe it when you fucking see it. I don't trust any of this shit as far as I can throw Jack Trenton. And I can't throw him that far. And so the question becomes, until there's a blog post that is like, hey, everybody, we're here to explain how you're getting your PlayStation 4 saves to your PlayStation 5, which could and hopefully is as easy as back it up to the PlayStation Plus cloud. Then backwards compatible the game, or if it's a PlayStation 5 version of the game, it'll know to look for it and stuff like that. That's the hope. I just don't believe it. I don't believe that they have this as a totally elementary, easy way to do it until it's actually happening. Am I wrong, Blessing? Do you believe it? Am I overthinking this? Have I been burned too many times?
I mean, do I believe what specifically? That like
that's going to be super easy to get your saves over there, yeah.
I mean, fingers crossed. I'm not sold that it's going to be super easy. And at this point, it seems like it's going to be a case by case basis. Like I'm going to go into the X's and O's and pull in one story that I was saving for there for the PS5 watch. But like, you know, just today, RGG Studio, who does Yakuza, tweeted, Rise Like a Dragon on PS5 is coming out on March 2nd, 2021. And then they talk about how you can get a first look and all that stuff. They mentioned that digital owners of Yakuza Like a Dragon on PS4 can upgrade to PS5 for free at the PlayStation Store immediately on the game's PS5 release, which is good and exciting news. They then followed that up 6 hours later to say, to clarify, physical owners of Yakuza Like a Dragon on PS4 can also use the original disc to upgrade to the PS5 version when it releases on March 2nd, 2021. Also good news. They then follow that up to say, save data will not be transferable between the PS4 and the PS5 versions of the game. And that's talking about Yakuza Like a Dragon. I if Yakuza Like a Dragon doesn't have that feature, I don't know how much hope I can have for many other games. Like, I assume that's the thing that they're probably working on and trying to figure out. And like, I don't understand why that wouldn't be the case. I don't think that makes sense that it wouldn't be the case unless it is a remaster situation. But as we understand, that's not the situation with Like a Dragon. Like, these are the same. It's like same game, but like PS4 and PS5 versions.
It's that idea that it sounds so simple, but in reality, how a system looks at a save and applies that to two different machines and bringing in information from a different machine and putting in there's so much weird shit there that I really, it's not that I don't have faith they're going to figure it out. I just think it's going to be more complicated than we imagine. And I think it's going to be, even once it's more complicated than we imagine, I don't know if everybody's thought it out for launch. It's like, yes, to bring it back to Avengers, because obviously that's what my life revolves around. Last night on Fran's stream, we were talking about it, and we were having this similar conversation of like this, and I was like, I'll believe it when I see it that's ready to go to launch. And so many people in the chat were like, no, Greg, they said it'll be ready on launch day for your PlayStation 5. And I Googled it while we were loading, because there's intense loading. Googled it, found a Marvel.com article from June, before Avengers was out, before we knew the release date of the PlayStation 5. And it's that thing of like, if the PlayStation 5, if Avengers very specifically was like Destiny, where my save is in Bungie's hand and in the cloud, and there's like nothing, there's other than like maybe, and I don't even know if this is right for Destiny anymore, but arguably system settings are on the unit. Cool. Avengers saves your shit locally. So I have a PlayStation 4 file I have a PlayStation 4 Avengers file that has all my information in it. How am I going to get that to the PlayStation 5 and have the PlayStation 5 communicated? I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying I think it's complicated in a way that is above my pay grade, and I'm not sure is as ambiguous as Sony has been for all of us about all of this information, about what the fucking UI looks like, about what trophies look like, all the nerdy things we want that either, number one, they know only the hardcore care about and they're going to buy it anyway, so why waste our breath with it? Or number two, they're still figuring out. How has that been communicated to developers and publishers? Has Square been working with them hand in hand the entire way of understanding the exact systems of how this is going to go? And if they have or haven't, and they're leading up to it and figuring out as they go, is that going to be ready in November? I don't know. Yeah. I hope so.
And that's why, like, I'm very much fingers crossed, because as far as I can understand and see, Xbox has that figured out on their side. Like, from what I understand, like, Xbox One saves are carrying forward to Xbox
100%
consoles. And if they can figure it out, you know, I'm not gonna say if they can figure it out, then PlayStation can figure it out, because it might come back to, hey, this is how the system was architectured for PS4, which just doesn't function with the PS5. Like, maybe it's something along those lines. But fingers crossed that that's not the case. I have full faith that, like, there are gonna be games where your saves carry over, and you know, it's probably gonna be easier in the case of like something like a Destiny, where it is, hey, your saves are in their hands, right? Or like the way in which I believe GTA 5 worked, where when you jump from PS3 to PS4, people were able to carry forward their online save, because that was a thing that was part of the Rockstar service, as opposed to
that
to
server side, right?
Yeah, exactly. When it comes to, I've very much been of the assumption that, oh yeah, with cloud saves, this is an easy thing. Like, that's just gonna carry over. The same way I save all my cloud saves in my PS4, that's just gonna carry into my PS5. And you imagine it's gonna work that way for backwards compatible games. 100%. It has to. Like, it has to.
Right? And I want to make it very clear. It's not me saying that that's too good to be true. That's not how it would work. Yada yada yada. I hope all that's correct. I hope that I'm here and I'm just worrying about something that isn't a concern. I've just been the guy before that covered these plans of, oh, well, if you get a PSP Go, GameStop is looking into a device where you can bring your UMDs in, and then it can scan it and give you a code, and it's like, that shit never came to be. And again, that's not on PlayStation necessarily, yada, 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 but that was on their ambiguous messaging of they were looking into things and how they were going to do all these different places and parts for it. So it's like, to be here about a month from release, a month and a half, will be generous, right? Like, it is that thing of, I could go for more clarity. I could go knowing exactly how this is going to work. I could go for an Avengers post of, hey, we're excited for you to upgrade to next gen. On PlayStation 5, it'll work this way. On Xbox, it'll work this way. Very excited for you to get out there and have your thing.
I can't believe they've not done the UI breakdown yet. And I know that's like an inside baseball, like, you're the hardcore the hardest of the hardcore audience are the ones that are looking for that, and that's something that you can probably upload on your site like 3 weeks beforehand, 2 weeks beforehand, and be like, hey, this is what the UI looks like, this is our launch breakdown of the PS5, and they could get away with it, and there's wouldn't be much wrong with that. But I'm surprised that like already, just to build that hype cycle and like get us excited and to like build trust for us in terms of like what we're buying in like a month and a half, I'm surprised they've not done that yet.
Yeah, and I think again this is where, you know, COVID and everything else really hurts, where I think that this historically, right, would have been a giant blog push from them earlier, would have been asked in every E3, and you would have had some kind of thing there. At the very least, it would have been like in the old days where Eric Lempel we'd go to some loft downtown and he would show us all this stuff, and then we'd go write about it and talk about it. Like, I think of, you know, that EGM I had for the PlayStation 2 launch. It's still on the bookcase, right? Of just like this thick Bible of everything you needed to know and how it worked and what it looked like. And you'd think Game Informer would have something like that as well. But the way the timelines for marketing have been thrown off, the fact that they can't just have us bop down to San Mateo and play a bunch of PlayStation 5 stuff and come back and report on it and talk about it. It is a whole new ball of wax on where it is and how they'll talk about it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to this. Sorry for rating this. So like, I think you knock off Maneater, you know, whatever. Congratulations. I'm glad the Shark game's getting updated. Destiny 2 Beyond Light, like whatever. Rainbow Six Siege, whatever. Fortnite, whatever. Not that I don't care about these games. More of like, do you care what the review of the PlayStation 5 is going to be? Are they going to even get enough PlayStation 5 things? I think you start then getting, I like the point you're bringing up of like Watch Dogs Legion. It's like, well, it's already been out for almost a month of that part. You know what I mean? It definitely half a month.
Does it get assigned new scores?
Yeah. And so I think it makes sense then to like really narrow it down to obviously Spider-Man, obviously Demon's Souls, obviously Bugsnax. I think Assassin's Creed is the one you could make a, maybe you do it, maybe you don't. Because again, I think that's going to be getting reviewed on current gen, maybe Xbox Series X, just because of accessibility. Astra's Playroom for sure. Destruction All-Stars. And then it's like DMC 5 Special Edition.
I think we can nix that.
I was going to say, I think it's going to be right around what the other one is. Godfall, I would think is a for sure one.
Yes.
Sackboy Big Adventure. And then Observer, I would say no.
Yeah, I would say no too, because is that not the same game?
I believe that's like the special, because it's Observer System Redux, so it's just the expanded PS5 version of it, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so read through.
So I think what we have left is good.
Okay. Yeah, it's Observer System Redux. It's just Observer again for this. So then the list stands at Spider-Man Miles Morales, Demon's Souls Remastered, Bugsnax, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Astra's Playroom, Destruction All-Stars, Godfall, Sackboy, A Big Adventure. Blessing, Adeoye Jr.
Greg Miller.
What is your prediction for what Sackboy, A Big Adventure gets on Metacritic? And also, we have to. What do you want to do? You want to do?
This is gonna be my question about the rules, because we had a whole thing during Gamescast. We're like halfway through. We're like, all right, so what are we doing? Are we doing who gets closest? Are we trying to get the exact number?
I think I like Price is Right, and I know Kevin hates it, but he's not on part of the show. I think it's Price is Right.
He's in the title.
Closest without going over, just for this segment.
Okay.
Closest without going over is what we do for this, and I say we do it.
I feel like that puts whoever goes first at a disadvantage.
I mean, that's Price is Right. You know what I mean? What do you want it to be? Just closest period?
Switch on who's going first?
We could alternate, yeah. How about that?
Does that make you feel better? Bless?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's closest without going over.
Price is Right rules. And then we're alternating each pick.
We alternate each pick.
Cool.
We'll start from bottom and go to the top.
Cool.
So we'll end on Spider-Man. But the question I have is, what obviously Metacritic changes over time. I feel like a month feels too far out. A week doesn't feel far enough, because that'll be us still like, oh, we got a PlayStation. We're excited. We're talking about it. I wonder if it's more, is 2 weeks enough, you think?
I think 2 weeks works. Yeah. Okay.
So this is going to be as of 2 weeks after. So it'd probably be, hold on. The 12th is what day of the week? Friday? Is that a Friday this year?
The 12th of November?
Thursday. Yeah. So then, how about this then? Since we figure that, so stick with me because this is going to get convoluted quick.
Mm-hmm.
The 12th is Thursday. So our first PS I Love You with it would be the 16th.
Yes.
Do you want to do it then?
The 30th?
The 30th. So November 30th is when we'll do this.
Yes.
This will be
the episode that'll go up December 1st for people.
Right. And there's a possibility because no, that's right. We'd be back. So yeah, November 30th / December 1. That's what we're cutting this down to figure out these predictions. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me put this in pick, and then it's 11:30 plus 12:1. Okay. So then, Sackboy, A Big Adventure, Blessing, Adeoye Jr.
I like this one because there's not much for us to go off from when in terms of like this is the first Sackboy A Big Adventure. Like it's not Little Big Planet 4.
Sure.
I think this is going to be a good game. Like I think this is going to be a pretty good game. Obviously, like it's doing the Mario 3D World thing in terms of setup, but like Little Big Planet and like all those things are quality. Like the inspiration that it's taking is quality. Little Big Planet historically has been pretty quality in terms of those games.
Sure.
The thing that throws it off for me is Sumo Digital.
Oh, okay.
And I'm looking back at some recent Sumo Digital projects, and we have Hot Shot Racing for Switch, PS4, Xbox One. We have a game called Spider that I've never heard of for iOS. Then we have Team Sonic Racing, which I liked, but I think I liked more than the average critic.
Right? Because that's the thing is, remember, we're not talking about what we think we'd give it or anything like that. You're talking about what the Metacritic is going to net out as for this game.
Yes. And we also have like Crackdown 3, which, was not great. You have Snake Pass, which was a Switch launch title, which was good. I don't know how it reviewed.
Should have gotten a 10 out of 10. I don't know what it got, but it should have been 10 out of 10. Love that game.
Sumo Digital did Little Big Planet 3, which I didn't realize.
Right now, Snake Pass for Switch has a 72 on Metacritic.
Okay, see, and that's kind of what I would have guessed. I feel like Metacritic usually skews lower in terms of
they do.
It's like bullshit. What you think. I hate it.
It's that thing where it's like Metacritic always brings in all the scores, so like it gets this whole. What game do you know that's universally beloved? Right? It's so hard to get that.
Exactly. Like even like the best games end up getting like a 90,
80,
or 94.
89. Yeah, 88. Yeah, I pulled numbers for this, obviously. We just talked about Snake Pass, but Little Big Planet 3 had a 79, or has a 79 as of when I did this, right? But I was like shocked to look back and I was like, oh, for Assassin's Creed, I want to pull those, right? Origins has an 81, Odyssey has an 83. For Spider-Man PS4, that has an 87. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, shit, fuck. Like, it is that hard, I think, to really, even for these games that even if you just want to go to Spider-Man, which I think is a standout, amazing title, it's still an 87 on Metacritic.
I have a lot of faith for Sackboy A Big Adventure. If you're telling me that Sumo did Little Big Planet 3 and that guy,
and I am telling you that.
I know Little Big Planet 3 didn't set the world on fire like the previous games did, and so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 81.
81.
Yes.
For Sackboys. Of Sackboy A Big Adventure.
2 points higher than Little Big Planet 3.
Well, here's the thing: is I'm gonna say 82, but well, no, it's closest without going over, right?
Yes.
So yeah, that would work. Because I'm gonna say 82, but I think it gets higher. I think this is gonna. If I was predicting, and I'm not, I'm locking it in as an 82, right? Because it's closest without going over.
See, the thing, no, you're I mean, you're right. If you think it's going to get
got anything higher, right? Anything higher. Yeah.
See, I think what this might turn into, though, with these rules is at a certain point, not even at a certain point, like it is going to be, all right, do I think it's lower? $1, Bob. Do I think it's higher?
Yeah.
1 point higher.
So what's yours? You just want to be as close to being it as what is?
I think we might want to do like as close as possible. Like take out the without going over thing.
Okay.
So that way now if it's 81 and lower, or what I guess. Yeah, 81 and lower, I get it. 82 and higher, you then get it.
Sure.
Because the thing about Price is Right is that usually there's like 7 people or whatever. And so like that becomes more of a
You're right. Okay, that makes sense to me.
Cool.
So you still going 82? Say 82 then, right? Yeah, because that's the closest. That's the only way I can be closer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That
makes sense. Yeah. All right.
But I do think it's gonna be higher. I could see this.
What are your overall?
Oh, here's what we should do. Here's what we do. It's you get the point for being closest without going over, but if you get it on the nose, you get 2 points. So there's actually this 82 business Like, I don't think it's getting an 82.
Mm-hmm.
Should we just
I think that's good too, because that then
I want to encourage you and me both not just to do one over, right, and like be higher or lower. Even I guess that is interesting as well.
I'm down with that. If you get 2 points if you get it right on the money.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. Okay. Cool.
So we're keeping Price is Right rules.
No. I don't think we're doing that. It's just whoever's closest. But if you get it, does that not make sense anymore?
That makes sense.
I don't know if it does because you're giving me that face.
I think both ways make sense whether we do Price is Right rules or not.
I just don't understand why you guys didn't figure this out beforehand.
People love seeing a podcast come together in real time.
Sure.
Exactly. All right. So it's no longer. It's just closest. Just be as close as you can. But if you get it on the nose, you get 2 points.
Okay. I'm cool with that.
Okay. Because I'm looking at this game. I'm watching the trailer right now over on the PlayStation, and it looks good. It looks really good.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what is your overall, like, excitement level? Even though I know, like, this might not necessarily be your particular jam.
Oh no, it is platforming, collecting. I mean, like, you mentioned Super Mario 3D World, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I loved that. I hated the Wii U, so I didn't play much of it. But like, I loved it in previews, and I loved playing it at friends' houses and playing with them. And so to watch this and see that it is that, and how good it looks, period, in terms of just fidelity, makes me think that a few different things. I think it's higher than 81 for sure. I think people are going to have such low expectations for it because outside of the super hardcore PlayStation, do people care about Sackboy? Like, I do. I think he's awesome. I'm excited to see him in a new game. I'm excited that this game looks dope and it's cool platforming, but I don't think people are hankering for it. And I definitely don't hear people talking about it.
So you think it's going to catch people off guard?
I do. I think it could catch reviewers off guard and get a few in there. I'm going to say 84.
Damn, that's kind of high.
I know it is.
Damn. Yeah.
The thing is, I think it's going to get 9s, but I'm just like,
really?
I'm trying to off of the 2 trailers we've seen it from it or whatever. Yeah. Like, I mean, I could totally be wrong as always, but
I think it's going to be really good. I think the thing that's going to hamper it is the fact that I think people are going to play this game and want to compare it so much to Super Mario 3D World. And I don't think Sumo Digital has that in them to make like a Super Mario 3D World quality thing. Like, I think this game is going to be good. Like, I think it's going to get 8s is where I'm sitting at. And like 8.5s and stuff like that. But I think the fact that people are going to be taking it and comparing it so directly with a Mario game is going to put them in a tough spot on the
Here's my thing though, is yes, they will be, but think of it this way. They're really going to be comparing it to the PlayStation 5's launch lineup. And how many games in there are stand out and great and things you would really recommend people pick up on launch day. I feel like launch reviews are such a different thing than established later on reviews. This is very much going to be, hey, you have a PlayStation 5. It's brand new out of the box. What would you like to play on it? What do you want to go with? And I think if Sackboy comes out and is a competent platformer that is cool and has a bunch of stuff, let alone, I'm sure, is going to look gorgeous on the PlayStation 5, use the DualSense for rumbles and feedbacks and all that jazz, right? I have a feeling it could go higher than that because I think it'll catch people off guard. Again, a game you're not anticipating either, where it is such a thing of nobody is talking about Sackboy.
Fair play.
Things that could have really hurt it, I think, is if it was super short. If the platform, like the one thing people hate about Little Big Planet, right, is that Sackboy's jumps are floaty. So it's like, how did they come into this and build this platformer to not feel that way? Because now that you're not attached to having to have people play, create, share, right? It is just about playing it and going through it.
Yeah, and I was about to ask, like, this game doesn't have a create mode like other Little Big Planet games do have, right?
To my knowledge, no, yeah.
Because I feel like that might end up being jumping. I think that might end up being a thing that might hamper it too with folks reviewing it. You know, I think when it comes to Little Big Planet, like the whole idea of that series is creation. And if you're putting out one of these where it is, hey, the focus of this is just to be a good platformer, I think despite that, people like reviewers might take that in and be like, oh, you know, Little Big Planet without the creation tools ends up feeling meh. And I really hope that's not the case. I really hope it comes through and shines through and ends up being good regardless. But in a review sense, I think that might come into play.
It might. Yeah. I just think that the Little Big Planet doesn't mean what it used to mean. I don't think people are out there hankering as much for that. And I think not calling it Little Big Planet helps. Sackboy, a big adventure. And it is this 2.5D platformer. It's 4 players. Especially what we're talking about in terms of launch lineup, you bring this home and you want to play something with your significant other, with your kids, with anybody who wants to come over. Like there's not that many local multiplayer things going on, right? So it is that, hey, here's something we could all jump in and run around and have fun with. It reminds me of Minecraft Dungeons, which again, to what we're talking about right here, Minecraft Dungeons I put on my fantasy team this year, and I was like, money in the bank. That game's going to be fun. It's Minecraft and it's a dungeon crawler. 74. So it's like maybe you know what I mean? Maybe I'm over it. But I look at this and it reminds me of Astrobot, which so many people loved. And granted, different teams, don't get me wrong, different franchises. I just think that there is an audience for that people would be stoked to go and play. And I don't know how.
3, man? Where is Knack 3?
No, we don't need it. We don't need it. We don't.
You don't need it. You don't need it.
I have breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Blessing. We are free to officially confirm. I'm just reading this to make sure. Hold on, I gotta read the guide here real quick. Yes, we can confirm we're playing Bug Snacks this week.
Let's go.
We're playing Bug Snacks, everybody. Everybody's talking about Bug Snacks. We're playing Bug Snacks. The first, our first preview of a next gen game. Finally,
I'm all about this. I cannot wait to play Bug Snacks and actually figure out what it is.
Yeah, that will be the big part about it of what this is. Yeah, exactly. Hold on, I'm gonna tweet it too. Well, I guess I gotta go next, right? Because you picked first in that one. Godfall is the next one. We got to figure out Godfall. Hold on, I'm playing Bug Snacks this week. I wanted you to know.
That's a good tweet.
We're doing first impressions on it too, right?
Yeah, the plan is to do first impressions, and so I'm not gonna say.
Yeah, I don't know when the date is on when we're doing it. I'm just doing that. Bug Snacks. Are there Bug Snack gifts, Kevin? There are. Don't worry about it. I'm playing Bug Snacks this week.
Snacks.
I wanted you to know. First impressions soon. All right, cool. I gotta make sure I didn't type it wrong because I'm stupid. Because I'm a big old. Yeah, does that happen to you all the time, Bless? You read it 4 times, you tweet it out, and then as soon as you read it again, there's like gibberish.
There's a typo. Dude, it happened. Like, I feel like I'm so good about proofreading and so good about not having that happen. Lately though, there have been quite a few times where I'm like, man, fuck, and I delete my tweets when I have typos in them because I do not like myself having typos, and it's been happening more and more lately. It's been upsetting.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Godfall is the next one here. Blessing Adeoye Jr. from Counterplay Games. What's your hype for Godfall? Of course, it was the one that's like, oh, it's the first next gen thing or PlayStation 5 game we're talking about.
Yeah, announced I think last year at Game Awards. I am looking forward to it. I am excited about it. I'm also just curious about it, period, because I don't know if this game is going to come out and set the world on fire, but all the ingredients that they have in that game, like them talking about how it's a looter slasher, as corny as a phrase as that is, does get me a little bit like, oh man, okay, I like slashing and I like looting, like I like both those things a lot.
All right, so far so good.
Yeah, I really like both of those things a lot. Aesthetically, I like the designs of the characters and stuff, but it's one of those things too where all the lore stuff they've shown and like the amount of times they've shown this game and so much of it just ends up looking generic. It's like, all right, like you guys aren't doing this game any favors in your marketing, and maybe that's because you guys just don't have the stuff to back it up, but I'm still holding out hope that this thing is going to be exciting and fun and good, and so I'm excited about it. On a review sense, like an actual Metacritic sense, I'm not necessarily aiming high. is what I'll say.
My gut is in the 70s, and so I feel like my first thought was 78, but then I went and I wanted to know, hey, what did Dauntless get? Dauntless has a 78. And I feel like Dauntless has more of a impression, vibe, and feel than Godfall does. Obviously unfair to judge. One's out, one you can go play, one you can do all this for. The other we've just seen trailers and walkthroughs for. But I'm with you of like, when they talk about the game and they show stuff from the game, it looks fun, but it also, I think, looks wholly generic.
Yes.
Where I have no interest in playing Godfall. And so then the question of where does that come out? I'm going to go with a 74. That's the Metacritic 2 weeks after the launch of the PlayStation 5.
This is where I'm sitting. Is one.
But then I look at the gameplay. The gameplay looks good.
Like that's the thing is like when this game looks fun, but then also it's a multiplayer online game, and I know traditionally those tend to skew lower in terms of Metacritic. There's the generic aspect of it. And there's also the like it's a full price game. Like this game is $70. And that kind of catches me by surprise because I think at a certain point, like I assumed it was going to be a free to play game.
Yeah,
based on like the ways they've shown it. And like that, I mean, that $70 makes me think maybe there's content there. Like maybe they're able to back this thing up. But then another side of me is like, what if they don't? And that $70 makes people go,
what if they don't?
Woof. Yeah, like what if the $70 makes people go, woof, this does not live up. I'm gonna go 68.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. This is such a weird one to do it, and I don't mean Godfall.
Feels high for me too.
I feel like it's such a weird launch to do this for, because again, these are all games we're going off of trailers, right? Like we haven't played these. Like
I mean, we've seen gameplay demos, like gameplay breakdowns.
Yeah, but that's never the same. You know, that's never the same. You want to get out there. You want to feel it in your hands, what the sticks feel like.
Yeah.
Blessing.
Greg.
Destruction All-Stars.
Oh, this is a good one because I have no idea. I have no frame of reference to go off of for Destruction All-Stars, like in terms of how good the actual game is going to be. Because I'm looking at the developer here, right? Lucid Games and Wushu Studios are behind it. I have no idea what Lucid Games has done before, if they've done anything before. Actually, no,
they've done a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, they've done a bunch. Interesting. They've done Need for Speed, Payback, co-developed it with Ghost Games.
Well, that's the thing, right? On their Wikipedia page, when you go into notes about their stuff, right? It's Destruction All-Stars, sure. Then it's Need for Speed Payback, co-developed with Ghost Games. We're going on a bear hunt, which is iOS and Android, right?
Yeah, which is like
Grand Theft 2015, Grand Theft Auto, Liberty City Stories ported the game to iOS and everything else. Before that, Happy Donuts. Before that, Goat Simulator ported only together with 011, game developed by Coffee Stain Studios. So like, the most recent stuff they've done is all port stuff. You have to go further back to find Geometry Wars 3, Jacob Jones and the Bigfoot Mystery, PlayStation Vita Pets Puppy Parlor from a PlayStation mobile game, right? Yeah, and Travel Bug, Pixel Smash, Christmas. Like, there's all these things. This is, I think, arguably their biggest thing. I guess you could say Payback, but I don't know anything about that. And that was a co-developed game. Yeah. Whereas this feels like, hey, we're making a PlayStation 5 game ready to rock and roll.
I am gonna go 60 for this one.
I'm looking at the gameplay trailer, right? It's like you're running cars into each other. It's got attitude. Yeah, it's that thing it's
like, it looks fun, but like looks and are very two different things.
Yeah, again, something that I think hurts so much not being able to play them ahead of time, right? Is this $70 too? How much is Destruction All-Stars?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it might be like one of those $60 ones. I'm gonna look it up.
Destruction All-Stars by $70 for Destruction All-Stars.
Oh man.
Looking at I'm on Legendary Loot here, has a 7-minute and 50 trailer, it looks like, of customizations and stuff. And it's another one of like, you glance at it and it's like, oh, it's Rocket League, but you're smashing into things. And then it's like, okay.
Like, it seems like a halfway point between like Rocket League and Twisted Metal in a way, which in theory could be cool and fresh because I think there's a crowd that wants a Twisted Metal like game. But in practice, does that end up living up? Like, even me saying 60, like, I know that is low.
Is that what you're saying? 60? You're locking into 60?
Yeah, I'm saying 60, and I think that comes back to I think a launch lineup is going to have duds, right?
Oh,
and
yeah,
like,
totally.
You know, that's not me being like Destruction All-Stars is going to come out and be a bad game, but I think especially when you compare it to the rest of the launch lineup, you know, I think there are going to be those ones where it's like, all right, this is definitely a launch game, and this game being published by Sony kind of gives me hope in terms of, okay, yeah, like Sony's pretty good about publishing quality games, but it's a Sony published launch title, which brings me back to how much of this game is meant to fill in a space. Like, how much is this game meant to, like, you know,
it's a smaller experience. Let's just get some content out there. You know, it's cars. Yeah. It's this thing. It's trying to piggyback off of how obviously multiplayer games are huge right now.
And we mentioned $70, right? And how much of that is them being like, all right, like, it's a launch lineup, and like people are going to pay $70 for this thing because what are the other exclusive from the ground up PS5 games for you to play?
Yeah. I thought 65, No, I think I put 68, and then you said 70 again. It's a $70 run around and smash into each other destruction game.
Like Rocket League is free to play right now too.
Yeah. How do they describe this on the Wikipedia page? Destruction All-Stars is an upcoming vehicular combat game developed by Lucid Games and published by Sony. God,
tough.
$70. It is
it's
tough.
A tough one.
It is tough. I'm gonna say 64.
I can see it.
Up next here on our list is Astro's Playroom. Now this is here's how you work this thing.
Yes.
Is this one worth doing? I look back, like the Playroom, obviously with your PlayStation 4 has an NA. It wasn't even done on PlayStation 4 thing. Playroom VR has a 77. Of course, Astrobot Rescue Mission has a 90.
See, I think this one is interesting because this is one I think people are going to be looking forward to. But it's also weird because it is a built-in this is us giving you a tech demo kind of thing. And so I think this will get reviews because people are fans of Astrobot. But I also think it's just an interesting question of, all right, but how much is this an Astrobot game and how much is this a Playroom? Like how much is this just like a showcase of this thing, and what are our expectations for it?
Yeah.
I have this in my fantasy draft.
Could be
I think it's going to do well.
Egg on your face if it doesn't get reviewed. A 0, a nothing for you.
Somebody's going to review it.
Well, enough people review. I guess OpenCritic works on different things, right?
Yeah. Like at least one. If I think one person reviews it, it's going to get on OpenCritic, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because if that's the case, I just need that one person to give it a 10.
It's an well, you're up first, I guess. So you have to, right? Yeah.
I think you're up first.
Oh no, you're right. I am up first. Fuck. Because I'm watching the trailer now for it, right? And it looks great. It looks, like Astrobot Rescue Mission, which is such a great platformer that's criminally underplayed because, of course, it's on VR. Now, it doesn't look necessarily quite as good, but it looks good. But again, it's that normal thing of if I'm at IGN and this is packed in, because I guess I was with the Playroom, right? And I was running the coverage and I said, don't review it. So if I was there now and it's Astro's Playroom, would I tell you, would I want anybody worrying about this to review it? I would say no, right? Because I think it's, why would you waste your time? It's included for free. Do you need a review on it?
But I feel like the reasoning there would be all right, yeah, one, who's buying Playroom? Who are we reviewing this for? But then also who's excited for Playroom? And I think at that point nobody's excited for Playroom. Everybody's kind of agreed on what this is. For Astro's Playroom, I mean, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself. Maybe this is just because I'm such a fan of Astrobot Rescue Mission. Sure. But I am looking forward to playing this thing on day one. And I think there's enough people in that camp that it would be worth reviewing. The question is, is it an Astrobot Rescue Mission? Or not even is it? How much of it is an Astrobot Rescue Mission versus how much of it is Playroom?
I'm going big, and I'm saying NA. I'm saying it is not.
Really?
2 weeks afterwards, it does not have a Metacritic. I don't think it gets enough reviews.
Wow. Damn. I mean,
I think it's a pack-in. I think everybody's going to be worried about other stuff. I think that you're heads down and doing everything else, especially because I think these systems are going to come in so hot for people, for reviewers and for coverage, that I just don't see it as being you prioritize that. And by the time you would double back to it, what do you care if the people are playing it? I think talking about it on a Beyond or this show or whatever makes so much sense. I think, hey, here's an article about how surprisingly great this is another great thing. But I just don't see it being, hey, we want to dedicate freelance budget or a reviewer's time to this.
I'm going to give it an 83.
Okay.
So how are we doing this then? If it's a 70, do I just still get it? Or
yeah.
How are we measuring this?
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
Do you have to get a spot on that it's just not reviewed for you to get the 2 points?
100%.
Okay.
Because we got rid of it's just closest. Who's the closest to it, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well, I guess.
So I get 1 point if it's not 83, right? Or if it gets a score. But then if it's NA, then you get the 2 points.
I get the 2. Yeah. I'm trying to think. There's got to be some number. It'd have to score super low for me to get it. to be closest, right? Like,
I mean, well, does NA count as a 0 then? Because I'm thinking of this as like you're going all in or nothing.
No, I'm going all in. I am all in. So yeah, exactly. You get a point if it gets a score on Metacritic 2 weeks out. You get a point.
Okay.
You happy, Pappy?
Yeah.
All right, good. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, we still have here. Do we want to include this on here?
I'm down to include it because I see it as a PS5 game.
All right, then. Blessing. The ball's in your court. Where are you starting with Assassin's Creed?
Origins has an 81. Odyssey has an 83.
Outrageous and criminally under-reviewed. Scored. Right, Kevin?
Outrageous. Unacceptable.
Here. I'm doing like they do in British Parliament where they hit some.
So the question becomes, is it better than Odyssey? Or like the question even does become, are people tired out by Assassin's Creed enough that it gets a lower score? Like, what are the expectations versus how does it live up to the expectations is what we're looking at.
These are the questions.
Ubisoft is probably the most consistent developer of all time, right? Like, they're
but like, until
with
they're
few
not,
exceptions,
you know what I mean? Like they have moments where they like, hey, Assassin's Creed is a great game. Oh no, Unity is all broken.
That's a good point.
Unity's
Like
all
Assassin's
broken.
Creed 3,
Oh, no.
I know people didn't like 3. I know Unity had a lot of issues. But like for the most part, though, you can expect that. Like, all right, yeah, we kind of know how good of an Assassin's Creed game is going to be. At least at this point.
I feel like what's the one before Odyssey came out, and everyone was like, "Oh, this game's boring."
Origins.
Well, Origins was before Odyssey, which people like that. People love that.
But the one before Origins was boring, and like maybe I didn't like it that much because the story.
But it has like
I was with Kevin.
I mean, it's right there in terms of Metacritic though with Odyssey, and like Syndicate was before that, and I have no idea what Syndicate got for Metacritic, but like. It's been a while since they released a dud for Assassin's Creed, it seems like.
Isn't that on purpose because they took a break? They started taking breaks?
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing for this game. This is one that's coming out after a break because there was no Assassin's Creed last year.
Correct.
Oh, which puts it interesting. See, this is interesting too because Greg has played it. And Greg has also played Odyssey and some of Origins. So Greg is just in a way better place to judge how it's going to compare to Odyssey.
I am.
I'm just going to say 83. I think 83 is the safe bet that it gets the same score as Odyssey.
Okay. Here's the thing, is that having played Valhalla for, 4 hours or whatever, it's very different than Odyssey, but also very similar. And I don't know how to read those tea leaves into what that will net out for. I feel it could go either way, where I think it could score just under Odyssey or it could score just over Odyssey. That's why your 83 makes a lot of sense. Because I do think that for as much as I loved Odyssey, like, you know, Barrett will argue up and down that Origins is better, and he's not alone by any stretch of the imagination in that. And so there is this divide there. And from what I played of Valhalla in a very controlled, very short, thing months ago now, it was that, hey, here's this game that isn't beating you over the head with quest markers and putting everything on the screen, right? It was very much trying to get you back into you're playing a Viking RPG, which had a different style of combat and didn't flow the same way as Odyssey, which I found challenging, but I also really dug. But it is that question of, will that turn people off to it or will it turn them on? And will it just the fact that it's an Assassin's Creed, is that going to get people stoked or is that going to turn people off? But it's Vikings.
And we're talking about Metacritic too. Like in terms of people being turned off and turned on by it.
Yeah. It's also one we've seen so little of, again, which I know that's the norm for every game we're talking about so far. But by now, I feel like usually you have that giant pool at E3 where they let us play for an hour and a half, and then we all come out and we all talk about what we think of it. It's that thing where I don't have enough data to have a conclusive answer if it's going to be better or worse. And that's even being broad, obviously. But I do think they're leaning more into the RPG stuff, which I really like.
You gotta say something.
I know. I'll tell you where I'm at. I'm either 79 or I'm at 84. And so now it's at 50-50. No matter what I pick, it'll be the wrong one. And that's the one that breaks your heart. Oh, fuck. I'm going to say... Shit, but I do think Eivor's cool, and I do think Vikings are cool. Oh, God. And I'm really excited for this one, too. I'm going to say 79.
Wow.
You hate to see it.
Wow. That shocks me.
I hope I'm wrong. I'm really excited for that game. That's top of the playlist when I get going.
Yeah. This being one of the ones that's coming after the gap year, even though I know that like there's two separate teams rotate, right? Like the team that did Origins
right,
is different from the team that did Odyssey. And so like they both have 3 years in theory to be working on what they're working on. But us not having an Assassin's Creed last year, I think gives people enough of a break.
See, I think it's just that it's going to be one of those. I agree with you, and I'm down for that. And I, again, really fucking loved what I played, but I wonder if that's going to march so much to RPG that people are not into it. You know what I mean? Where if that's actually a turnoff to what Assassin's Creed should be. Because that was one of the big things when I was so in love with Odyssey, everybody's talking to me about. And granted, I've only played a little bit of this, but it seems even less of, hey, here's how you go and do all this different stuff. And they're moving in, next gen and new systems and all that stuff they move into it.
And like, here's another thing I'll throw out there. Because I remember 2018, fall of 2018 very vividly. Because Red Dead Redemption 2 came out. A lot of people in media, like a lot of critics came out of Red Dead 2 either loving it or being like, there's a lot of open world either bloat or repetition or like aged Rockstar mechanics or things that didn't necessarily vibe in a way where Assassin's Creed Odyssey following it gave people something that they could compare it to, and that worked a lot to Assassin's Creed Odyssey's benefit, because there are certain things I know that game did that really smoothen things up as far as like what that open world experience could be. What could there be a repeat of that with Cyberpunk and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where people go into Cyberpunk and they're like, okay, yeah, like this is CD Projekt Red, like this is them putting out this thing that is art, that is technically impressive, that is doing all these different things, but there are like those few things about it that people take notice to that irk them either in the RPG design or in the open world design. And people then go to Valhalla and are like, all right, yeah, this is my comfort zone. Like this is what
it's so hard again because I'm just not. It was a while ago and it was just 4 hours or whatever. I feel like at least the way they were playing with the HUD and giving you mission objectives, like. I think this Assassin's Creed is going to be more RPG than any of them, which then I think is going to be that thing of it doesn't feel like your traditional Assassin's Creed, because that's what you're driving at, right? Like, Assassin's Creed mission structure, what you're doing, like, being Eivor and then like, going to the wedding feast and deciding to have sex with the guy or not have sex with the guy and then call him the right name or call him the wrong name and have like, I love all that stuff, but I feel like that even starts to feel more like, Dragon Age or The Witcher or whatever. And so is that going to be a curveball to people playing this Assassin's Creed, that even then they're like, well, this isn't comfort food for Assassin's Creed fans. And then if you're reviewing it, how do you put that in there too? I don't know. But the fact that they're stretching, I feel like, and doing something even more RPG-y, is that going to leave them open to more, okay, well, this isn't, Cyberpunk is here and that's how it's making decisions and doing this. Why would you want to go play this?
Fascinating fall we're about to get into.
Very much so. Then we just said we get to play it this week, so we have no insider information yet. Bug Snacks. I get to pick first on this one. Octodad, Dadliest Catch, of course, from Young Horses, got a 69.
Nice.
Very nice. On Metacritic. And obviously Octodad was a different kind of beast, you assume, because it was like, hey, this thing's fucking hard to control. This is fun at PAX, and everybody loved joking around with their friends about it and playing it with a group, but maybe not sitting there and trying to complete the whole thing or platinum it. To again, then come into Bug Snacks, obviously, which has been, if you want to talk about 2020 in general and toss a bunch of games out there in terms of headlines, right? Like obviously Animal Crossing, obviously Cyberpunk and the run up to it, but obviously Bug Snacks, the fucking song nobody could get out of their head and the way that took over and everybody freaking out about it. And then the little bit we've seen of it being first person and kind of a Pokemon Snap, capturing things, these crazy things. Bug Snacks. How long, and what does it shake out to? Yeah, and what's Bug Snacks retailing for? Bug Snacks buy
$70. I'm assuming like
it's got to be like what? Yeah, 30. That sounds right. Okay, it's still coming soon on Epic Store, and I don't think It's not. It does not have a place here. PlayStation.com lists it as. I don't see a price at all on PlayStation.com. So unannounced. But yeah, you figure $30, $29.99.
Yeah. I know what I think. I'm very curious about what you think.
What? Oh, I'm very curious to hear what you think too. I'm gonna say flat 80.
Oh,
what do you think?
Man, because I was gonna go 75, but now you've like put me in this window.
Here's my thing: is that I think it's impossible to gauge, obviously, because we haven't played. But the fact that Octodad was funny and cute, but then a bitch to play, right? Or not even a bitch, but that's kind of just how it was. Of like, hey, do the lawnmower and then move all your limbs and get over there. What you've seen of Bugsnax seems like it's funny. It seems like it's cute. And seems like it's a cohesive story to an extent. And it seems like you can wrap your head around it mechanically, right? Of go ahead and capture these things. I'm looking at the PlayStation page because I left it open here, right? And it's the fucking, I don't even know, Muppet dude running behind a strawberry with the trap under his arm and a net. It's like, all right, cool, I get it. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to capture all these creatures and, make them do stuff, or that's what I'm doing for the other people of Snackburg or whatever it's called. Like it's all in the song. The song describes the game, and I feel like that seems like an 80. That seems like as long as it doesn't overstay its welcome, as long as it isn't terrible joke after terrible joke after terrible joke for 9 hours or whatever, and as long as it's not too short. It's got to hit that sweet spot of you get in, you do everything, you're on an adventure, it's over, and you're like, oh, that was a fun time. I enjoyed what I played. Yeah,
I think the difference for me with Bugsnax and Octodad, right, is, and this is where you're driving at, is that Octodad was kind of a meme game. Like it was fun, right, and it was a sensation, but it was also like this. Hey, look, it's an octopus, but he's also a dad, and like the joke of it was how you controlled it, and the game was how it controls, which I think led to. I can understand how that gets to 69 when you play it, and you're like, oh yeah, this is a cute thing, but like it's not necessarily like a like I can see that getting the 7s and the 8s as opposed to the 9s and 10s when it breaks down in reviews. Bugsnax strikes me as a game. Like I think that game is. Yeah. I think there's going to be actual content there. There's going to be a gameplay loop there. There are going to be mechanics there that you interact with and grapple with. And like from the ways they've described it, and like it's funny that you mentioned like the song in terms of like, oh yeah, how I understand the game. And I always go to the tweets that the devs made in terms
of always like, do, yes, exactly. Their mood board or what their inspiration.
Yeah, they're like, these are our inspirations for Bugsnax, and it's Dark Cloud and Pokemon Snap and BioShock somehow, and it's like, all right, I know what that game is. Like I know, I can understand what you're driving at here. I'm gonna go 79.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'll take it. You want to, trying to screw me over there? I said 80. Not that. Yeah,
you said 80. I'm gonna go 1 under.
Yeah, I see how you want to do it. Okay. The next one for you to start with is Demon Souls Remastered. Demon Souls itself has an 89 right now on Metacritic.
Oh, Bluepoint is an extremely talented studio, and I think this is going to be an interesting one for review, especially when you bring up the fact that Demon Souls is got an 89. Like that game was very well designed at the time, right? And like right now we're looking at a game that is going to be remade, but it is going to be like mostly assets that are replaced in the game, like the visual assets and probably the sound design and certain things, like the things that Bluepoint excels in. And I think that what that comes down to in terms of a question of how does this get reviewed is, are we reviewing Bluepoint's work? Like, are we reviewing what Bluepoint has done to the game, or are we reviewing Demon Souls in conjunction with what Bluepoint's done with the game? Like, how does that all break down in terms of a 2020 experience? And I imagine at this point, right, like going into the fall for what is going to be a huge launch title, you review it as it is, right? You play that game and you review what's there, and you obviously point out what Bluepoint's done, but it's going to come down to, I think a big talking point for Demon Souls is going to be people comparing it to a Bloodborne or comparing it to a Sekiro in terms of how it breaks down. And it gets very interesting because I know people love Demon Souls that much. And this is one of those things where I wish I played Demon Souls, because part of this might also come down to how well is Demon Souls aged compared to a Bloodborne, which is working off of the influences that those games got from Demon Souls. I'm I'm going 90. I'm going 90.
Okay.
I think it's gonna knock people away. This is gonna be one of the best looking games at launch, like period, especially with what Blue Point does. And I think with that, and knowing how much people love Demon Souls, and knowing that the people who are reviewing this game are probably people that love Demon Souls, yeah. I almost want to go higher than 90, but I'm gonna stick it at 90.
90 was my guess too. So I have to come up with a new thing here. Where it gets interesting is I'm on Metacritic, right, and looking at Shadow of the Colossus. Shadow of the Colossus for PS2 has a 91. Eco and Shadow of the Colossus Collection on PS3 have a 92. And then Shadow of the Colossus PS4, the remake to the 91 Shadow of the Colossus on Metacritic, not years, also has a 91. So you're looking right there, right on the money, right?
I should have gone higher.
Or should you have done 89 and just, think it's going to get the exact same thing it did the first time?
Well, I think Demon Souls is going to age better, in terms of the complaints people have with Shadow Colossus. I think Demon Souls is going to control better than a Shadow Colossus. And I think that's going to sit better with people, especially the people that are going to review this game, who have probably played Demon Souls and already like it a lot.
I'm going to pull a Bugsnax and go 91. Just go up by 1 on you.
Yeah.
Because I'm right there with you. Is because I can see it, Demon Souls gameplay is the loop, right? It started this whole Souls thing, right? And in terms of getting people into it and loving it. So to come in, make that look more beautiful, you assume do some quality of life improvements here and there in terms of UI and menus and things like that. You can see this coming in and being the best version of it. And not have to worry about that and getting high 90s. But
yeah,
the final one, the creme de la creme of the PlayStation 5 launch, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Of course, Spider-Man PS4 has an 87. Now the question is, where will Spider-Man Miles Morales show up on the PlayStation 5?
Fascinating one.
What was that?
Oh, this is a fascinating one.
Right, 100%, right? Because you're Lost Legacying it, as everybody said, right? A smaller game, a more contained game, but that also comes with a smaller price point. $49 for the standalone edition, or $50 for the standalone edition, $70 for it with the bundled in remastered of Spider-Man PlayStation 4.
Uncharted Lost Legacy got an 84 on Metacritic.
Deservedly so. Wasn't that great as the other Uncharted.
It was amazing.
Uncharted
4 got a 93 compared to Lost Legacy's 84. Y'all are tripping, man. Y'all are tripping, man.
It's a better game. Sorry, it's a better game.
Oh, y'all are tripping.
Here and now, this is the one though of how high do I want to go?
What does that mean?
I think this is gonna beat Spider-Man's 87 for sure.
How?
Spider-Man Miles Morales?
You think it's going to beat Spider-Man PS4's 87?
Yes. And here's the thing I'll tell you right now, Blessing. I don't think it's going to do it. It's going to do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
And so I think it's going to be all the learnings of Spider-Man PS4 applied to a smaller game. And I think that will resonate with people. I think it's not only Spider-Man PS4, right? I think universally, I'm sure there's somebody you could dig up, but for the most part, beloved from a gameplay standpoint. It is exciting to be Spider-Man. It feels when you swing, it feels great. All these different things, right? What were the complaints people had about Spider-Man PS4? I think length comes into play of it. I think there was downtime in there in terms of, okay, what am I doing? We talk about the pacing of it, where you've unleashed the Sinister Six have been released. This is going to be awesome. And then you beat them really easily and they're in fights with each other and they don't really get fleshed out. For me, part of it was I'm super excited for this Spider-Man story. It's an original take. And, my complaint was, these are spoilers for Spider-Man, by the way. Sorry, but I should have done it earlier. Spoilers for the original Spider-Man. It's this original take. And then they introduced Doc Ock and it was okay, but I hope he doesn't. Oh, he did turn bad. Okay, well, That's okay. It wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's amazing. And I think I unfairly said at review in interviews with like Brian when we did the spoiler cast that I thought it was a bit too by the numbers Spider-Man story. And people have pointed out, including Brian Intihar from Insomniac, like, motherfucker, we killed Aunt May. Like, and it's like, yeah, I guess you did. And there was that great moment of fighting Doc and him knowing and all that stuff. Like, there was some great stuff in there. I feel Miles Morales gets to benefit from all that of cool, shorter experience, more streamlined story. It's just Miles. I don't think you're going to see like that much Mary. You're not going to have the Mary Jane stuff of like, let's play as her and run around and do this.
That's true.
Thing.
You're not going to have those stealth sections.
I think Peter is going to be, downplayed to just being a phone call or maybe the intro outro cutscene, which I think is exciting. I think that there is a chance to give the majority of gamers, because you can include Ultimate Alliance 3 and stuff, but the majority of gamers, their first chance to be Miles Morales and benefit from all the love he has, justifiably so, understandably so, from Spider-Verse. The new powers, even if you've played a Spider-Man game before, have you had like the Venom Blast and stuff that like he has, the electricity that Miles has? No. And I think that on top of all that, for everything they did in terms of, it's going to be for that I was saying, it's a pretty, tried and true Spider-Man story. Look at people's reaction to the Puerto Rican flags in this game, right? And them crying and his mom running for office, which is a difference that we're not used to seeing. And like them really owning that story, giving Miles his Harlem, having him go through and do this in a time where I think we do, long and strive. And we're so thirsty for, hey, we want representation and we want it to be done really well. And like, think about the fucking bass drop, right? Or the tempo change in the music when we were watching that gameplay. Like, if they're delivering that kind of experience, it's going to be unlike any Spider-Man game we've played before. And I think that it gets to benefit from the pedigree that Insomniac rightfully has, let alone the Spider-Man pedigree they have, let alone the hype for Spider-Verse, let alone the love everybody has for Miles right now. And I really do think you're going to sit down and I think have this, holy shit, this is a fresh experience that's colorful in a way Spider-Man PS4 wasn't, that is musically charged in a way Spider-Man PS4 wasn't, that's an interesting story I don't know already that Spider-Man PS4 wasn't. Like, I think all of that adds up to this coming out and people being like, fuck, this is awesome. And the downsides of it being maybe it's too short, maybe it is, that you don't, it's Roxxon, right? It's Roxxon and the Tinkerer. And it's like, are those just the starts of the villains, or is that really what we're getting into? And like, there's a whole bunch of different ways they could stumble or miss the mark on it, but I think that Insomniac proved with Spider-Man PS4 they know what the fuck they're doing, and I think that on the kick Marvel is, both as Marvel Games and Marvel Studios and Marvel everything right now, that they're down to let them go nuts with this, and I think you're going to see something really magical. I'm saying 92.
Damn.
I hyped myself up to that. I originally wrote 90, now I'm at 92.
Damn. I mean, I think for all the reasons you just mentioned, I'm probably going to end up liking this game more than Spider-Man 2018. However, I don't think it's going to review better. I think, coming out of Spider-Man 2018, going into a new game, I think a lot of those things are going to mirror each other in terms of, all right, how much of the open world is going to feel just like Spider-Man 2018? How much of the combat is going to feel like Spider-Man 2018 despite new abilities? Like, how much is this game going to feel like, all right, yeah, we're definitely coming off of Spider-Man 2018 in a way that is cool and fresh because it's Miles Morales and this new story and these trap drums that come on when the combat happens and all these different things that I think are going to hit for me in a certain way, but might not hit as hard in like a review sense in a certain way when you really like break down all right, yeah, this is a shorter game. You are fighting the Tinkerer, and I'm curious to see how much they really make us. I don't know anything about the Tinkerer, and so like it's very hard for me to take seriously the Tinkerer. Maybe within the story they really drill that down and make me realize that.
Kevin, you played the Tinkerer. You played the Tinkerer in a Marvel video game. Yep. Could you tell me the synopsis of the Tinkerer real quick?
Makes cool devices. Often sells them to people. So not the biggest bad guy, but like a facilitator of sorts. You saw him in Far From Home. No, it's not the one. The other one. The first Spider-Man.
Homecoming.
Homecoming, yeah. He was making all the cool guns. It's someone that likes to tinker with stuff,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Surprise. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Damn.
I know, I'm not...
Damn, they had everybody in there.
Yeah, it was good.
But like, how much are they... I love that. I love the idea that, how like when Robert Downey Jr. gets casted for Iron Man, or Captain Marvel gets casted for Captain Marvel. I don't know why I can't think of her name right now.
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson.
That was a big move when they put Captain Marvel in Captain Marvel.
Yeah, when Brie Larson got casted as Captain Marvel, like, you know how actors will then take that and be like, all right, I gotta dive deep into this character.
Yeah.
I gotta become this role. I gotta dive into the lore, into the comics, read all that stuff. I love the idea of Kevin doing that for the Tinker, and like us asking him like, oh yeah, so what is the Tinker, and Kevin just having.
Oh, well, in Amazing Fantasy 97, he showed up and did yeah, exactly.
That's hilarious. But like, what does the rest of the villain cast look like? Or is there a rest of the villain cast look like? And how does that reflect back on our overall thoughts on this game in a review sense?
Totally.
I think it's gonna be tough for this game to get above the Spider-Man 2018 score in the same way that it was tough for Uncharted Lost Legacy. Like, and also, like, I understand that Uncharted 4 being this wrap up to Nathan Drake's story is going to do way more for Uncharted Lost Legacy as this side story within the same universe. Yeah. But for Spider-Man Miles Morales, which does feel like something that is a little bit closer to the Spider-Man mainline universe than Uncharted Lost Legacy was to the Uncharted 4 universe.
Sure.
How do you do that? Like, how can you really blow people away more so than a Spider-Man 2018? And so with that, Spider-Man PS4 got an 87. I'm going to 85 for Miles Morales.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're all typing at the same time.
Oh yeah.
I
just noticed that.
85.
85.
All right. Wow. See, you talked me down to where I want to go back to my 90, but I've already locked in it as 92. But
my question is this: what if it ends up being 89? Who gets the point?
My question is this: do you think we really remember on November 30th to do this? To look back at these?
We'll see. I think I'll remember. I'm pretty good at remembering.
No, I'm kidding. We'll remember, but I don't know. This is always just for fun. We didn't even put anything on. What are we doing? Is it a pizza bet? Is it a Jollibee bet? Is it a Popeye chicken sandwich bet?
Ooh, those are good questions.
And no matter what, whatever it is, you have to buy Kevin the thing too. So Kevin wins no matter what.
I mean, I'm down for Popeyes.
Popeyes?
I feel like the last time me and Kevin went to Popeyes, it was a good time. And so let's do Popeyes.
Was that wasn't that last Friday?
Yeah, it was Friday when he helped me take the studio 65-inch TV.
It was great.
Into my apartment. Yeah, it was great. It was a great time.
All right, so to wrap this all up, ladies and gentlemen, your recap. This goes in the time capsule. Then on the November 30th episode, that's a Monday, of course, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Watch it live as we record it. Or December 1st, podcast services around the globe. This is what it looks like. Spider-Man, Miles Morales, I say 92. Blessing says 85. Demon Souls Remastered. Blessing says 90. I say 91. Bugsnax, I say 80. Blessing says 79. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Blessing says 83. I say 79. Astro's Playroom, I fucking huge matzo ball out there, say it won't get enough reviews to actually be put on Metacritic. Blessing says 83. Destruction All-Stars, Blessing says 60. I say 64. Godfall, I say 74. Blessing says 68. And Sackboy, A Big Adventure, Blessing says 81. I say 84. Blessing, I look forward to seeing what happens in November. I hope maybe you'll have a beard by then. Maybe I'll have like that long hair going,
It's really hot in my room and I'm somewhat tired. And so when you said I'm looking forward to see what happens in November, I was like, oh yeah, the election. Like I guess I'm excited to see what happens then too.
You're like, yeah, I guess that's cool. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Hopefully we get
it is a hot one. It is a hot one here in San Francisco. So Blessing, why don't you take a break? Why tell everybody about our sponsor? This episode of PS I Love You XOXO is brought to you by Upstart. During these economically turbulent times, everyone is looking for a way to feel more financially secure. So if you're still needlessly throwing money every month at high-interest credit card debt, it's time you checked out Upstart, the revolutionary online lending platform that knows you're more than just a credit score. Now is the time to find out how low your Upstart rate can be and help pay off that high-interest credit card debt. Unlike other lenders, Upstart can reward you based on your education and job history in the form of a smarter interest rate. You don't need a degree or a diploma to apply, though. Upstart lets you skip going to the bank because it's completely online. They offer loans from $1,000 to $50,000, so you can consolidate your debt into one easy fixed rate payment. Upstart makes it fast and simple to check your rate. Since it's just a soft pull, it won't affect your credit score. The hard pull happens if you accept your rate and proceed with your application. The best part? If your loan is approved and accepted, most people get their funds the very next business day. Over 400,000 people have used Upstart to pay off credit cards or meet their financial goals. Free yourself from the burden of high-interest credit card debt and get back to using your money the way you want to with Upstart. See why Upstart has a 4.9 out of 5 rating on Trustpilot and hurry to upstart.com/PS to find out how low your Upstart rate can be. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes. That's upstart.com/PS. Your loan amount will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Not all applicants will qualify for the full amount. Go to upstart.com/PS. Just kidding. There's no break for you. The show keeps going. All right. Don't worry about it. The big question is, actually, no, I was going to say it's 3:30. Do I get a Busan, but then risk not being able to fall asleep later? But I'm going to get the Busan.
You're going to get the Busan?
I'm going to do it because I did two canned iced coffees the other day and I couldn't sleep.
I can already feel it.
Now, if you get a Busan, can I get a Truly? That is my question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure. Kevin, host the show while we get our canned drink. Yes, everybody, hey, welcome back from the ads. We're back from the ads. Blessy and I are both getting canned beverages.
I'm now visualizing my vocals.
That's cool.
Yeah, there it is. Now everyone can see my voice. That's right. You can see my voice. That's a new add-on. Someone was recently talking to me about shaders for... This is not a shader. It's a separate conversation. But I do have that going now with the KevCam. But I have a bunch of different options I can do, and I was experimenting with them. But a lot of them, they make it so that everything breaks. So, it's a little scary using some of them, you know what I mean? This is two shaders. One that makes me blurry, and the other one that makes me, twitch. So it looks like I'm glitching out, and I can be like, no, this is not working. Look at me glitch out. Isn't that cool? So, yeah, I want to play with more of the shaders, but unfortunately, if I do that while we're live, it may break the stream or break the OBS. So I have to do it on my own time, and, fuck that. My time's my time. You know what I'm saying?
What broke?
What? Nothing. Don't worry about it.
What broke? No, first off, Kevin, I'd like to think better than anybody that I agree your time is your time. And if, I was just wondering what broke. I definitely wasn't about to be go do it.
You like this?
I love that.
I made it.
You're in the Matrix, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm in the Matrix. I wish it had more of them coming down that weren't, me.
I feel like there could be, yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I'd have to figure that out. That seems like a lot. But, I've been playing with some of these things. Uh-oh, it broke. Is
this the main show? Is everybody hearing this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is the show. Yeah.
Oh.
Blessing, it's time for this week's X's and O's. What do you got for me as digitized Kevin rises above us like the Slimer in the Ghostbusters universe?
This is going to be a tough one for Kevin, but I want to start off with PS5 Watch. Yeah, I knew I was going to have to give him a second to resettle.
They can hear it.
Can they hear us though? Like when I do my own version of the wow wow.
Yeah, no, they can. That's why I said that that's why I kind of shame, with a lot of shame in my voice, said they could hear it.
Like when the sound goes up, we get muted.
No. That's not the case. When the intro goes out, you get muted.
But when the PS5 Watch thing just happened,
you don't get muted. If you want, I can set that up.
No, that's fine. Then why wouldn't they hear Greg doing the bow wow?
No, that's why I said they can hear you.
You ever heard that?
Oh, you said they can hear us?
Yes.
Gotcha. Greg, I want to start with PS5 Watch. Right. And this is a fun one because, at the beginning of the show, we kind of talked about what's up with the PS4 to PS5 saves, and talked a bit about Yakuza Like a Dragon, how that feeds into this whole conversation about next gen. Along with that, last week there's been this huge conversation about Spider-Man PS5 and how all right, how can I get the remaster? Can I buy it by itself? Do I have to get? Oh wow, you really took out that Busan. I'm really proud of you.
Well, I poured it into the cup. It's not like I just.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was on the dock. I come back and I just see you squeeze the can. I was like, damn, he destroyed that thing. But yeah, there've been many questions about what the fuck is going on with the Spider-Man remaster.
Sure.
I'm pulling in one article from Chaim Gartenberg at The Verge, who writes an article called "Buying Spider-Man Remastered on the PS5 is going to be needlessly confusing." And this kind of breaks down everything everybody's been talking about over the last week. So prepare.
All right. Get your pens and papers.
Get your pens and papers because there's a lot going on here. 2018 Spider-Man is headed to PS5, but buying it won't be straightforward. Sony has confirmed to Kotaku that Spider-Man Remastered, the updated PS5 version, won't be sold as standalone or offered as a free upgrade for existing Spider-Man owners. Instead, the only way to buy it will be a part of the $69.99 Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Edition bundle, which couples the PS5 version with the upcoming spin-off which couples the PS5 version of the upcoming spinoff with Spider-Man Remastered. The issue
Sounds easy so far.
Sounds easy so far. The issue is, as with several other cross-generational games, there are actually two versions of Spider-Man. The regular PS4 version that's been around since 2018, and a new edition of the game called Spider-Man Remastered, which will feature specific next-gen improvements to take advantage of the PS5, like faster load times and ray tracing. The games are separate enough that you apparently won't be able to transfer save files between them. The confusion,
easy so far.
Yeah, easy so far. The confusion, both for Sony and in general, is the fact that the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S are still both backwards compatible, which means that for players unwilling, or in the case of Spider-Man, unable to shell out to buy the game again for next gen, you'll still be able to play the current gen versions of those games on your new console. The difference is that backwards compatible titles will lack the enhancements and improvements of the next gen versions. Sony is compounding this issue by offering free upgrades for some cases and paid ones in others. You can buy Spider-Man Miles Morales for the PlayStation 4, and you'll get a free upgrade to the PS5 version, right? So you can get Miles Morales specifically for the PS4 and get that free upgrade to the PS5 version.
Right.
If you already own the original, you have to rebuy it again on PS5, assuming you want the remasters, graphical and performance improvements. And then, as an added insult to injury, it seems that the only way to buy that remastered edition will be through the pricey $70 bundle. Does that make sense?
100%.
As such, there remain three ways to play Spider-Man 2018 on a PS5, right? One, you can buy Spider-Man on PS4, which will run as a standard backwards compatible version of the game on a PS5, which is currently sold as a complete edition bundled with the DLC for $39.99 if you want to go about it that way. It'll lack the specific PS5 improvements of the remastered edition. All right, that's number one.
Got it.
Number two, you can buy Spider-Man's Miles Morales, or let me say it again. You can buy Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales on the PS4 or PS5, which includes a free upgrade to Miles Morales on PS5, the PS4 version, for $49.99. But if you want to play Spider-Man 2018 Remastered with it, you'll then have to have the option to pay the extra $20 to then upgrade to the Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Edition to then get Spider-Man Remastered, but you'll still have to own Spider-Man Miles Morales to start off. And then number three, you can just buy Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Edition for $70, which includes the PS5 version of Miles Morales. The PS5 version of Miles Morales and Spider-Man Remastered.
Got it.
Are you following me, Greg?
Yes.
So the main issue here is, and this has been kind of the cause for ruckus and confusion, and this is kind of where I stand too with it, is that it feels like they're kind of holding Spider-Man 2018 hostage.
Sure.
Like, this feels like a hostage negotiation so I could play Spider-Man 2018 Remastered on the PS5. Like,
that's correct.
Where do you stand with this whole situation?
I don't find it confusing at all. Because everything you just read, I think, makes sense and you get it. Where you get into it is this the right way to do it? This is back to the pro-consumer stuff that we go back and forth on, and these conversations of, well, this game's giving you the update for free, but this game wants you to rebuy it, or that, and how do you want to shake it all out? My thought process on it is that it came strictly down, as it always does, to the bean counters, where it was this idea that, yeah, if we wanted to, we could go ahead and put in Spider-Man Remastered for everybody who already owns Spider-Man PlayStation 4. And of that, X% of people would turn it on to look at it and go, oh man, this looks a lot better, and bounce after 20 minutes and never come back to it. So we'd be putting in a lot of work and getting a low yield on the reward from it. Instead, if we put it in and bundle it into this Ultimate Edition for Spider-Man Miles Morales, $70 at launch, justifying this smaller game, Miles Morales, for a full-blown price tag of what next-gen gaming is going to be, we can double dip on people who actually want to go and replay Spider-Man again, or who missed it the first time around. And there is that right? Is that wrong? How do you want to do it? I know I'm accused all the time on our shows of being too pro corporation, too pro business. Taking that aside, everything away from it, that's their right to do it. And if you are desperate to play Spider-Man again on PlayStation 5, there is backwards compatibility, and you do have that game going forward. And they're giving you a cheaper way to get Miles Morales without having to do this $70 thing, which I think they should be applauded for. Like, the thing for me when I was trying to explain this to friends, and I think Gary too, when we were arguing about it, not even arguing, but discussing it, right, is the idea that Spider-Man Remastered is all the DLC. It is Spider-Man the full game, and it is, and again, this is me taking them at their word. I don't know fully, obviously. A whole bunch of upgraded features in terms of their new Peter Parker, their Peter Parker model, ray tracing, this, that, the other. There's extra suits to it. There's 3 new suits, right? They talked about in their description of it on the PlayStation blog. Like, there is content there. They also said, and I know this speaks to me, but not you, definitely not you, Blessing, and maybe not you, listener. There is a new trophy list for it. Like, and it's what we were talking about, Blessing, earlier, where you're giving me shit for it. But I was like, I'm going to platinum this game again. And you were like, really? With all the things happening this fall, you're going to platinum? And I'm like, maybe not right away, but I'm definitely going to do a replay of Spider-Man. I'm going to do a play of Spider-Man Remastered to platinum that again. And that is exciting. That is cool to me. Whereas if it was, hey, guess what? Spider-Man Miles Morales comes with Spider-Man Remastered, and it's just the same game, and your save works and all that jazz, I would have turned it on, and I would have looked at it, and I would have bounced if it was the same trophy list and nothing new to it. Like, everybody wants something different from this, and so there's no possible way to make everybody happy. Where I think in terms of me and my personal example, and me as a gamer, like, this method will actually get me to replay Spider-Man. Whereas Spider-Man backwards compatibility, Spider-Man just bundled in with no new trophies and the same content, wouldn't have. And so, even though that you can make the argument, of course, well, Greg, you're press, you're a reviewer, you'll get codes, you don't have to spend the $70. I would, even if, like, and that's even a better way to put it. Like, if I got the code from Sony and it was, hey, here's Spider-Man Miles Morales on PlayStation 5. If you want the remastered thing, I'd gladly give them the $20. I'd gladly go buy my own thing to do this again and have those bells and whistles and a reason personally to replay it. And that, I think, is the real struggle you're seeing back at HQ when they made this decision was, what are the number of people who will pay for it, and what are the number of people who would actually just replay it if it was free? And that's brass tacks, and that sucks, and it isn't pro-consumer in the way that everything should be free and everything should go, but it's also a question of how much work is Insomniac putting into this? How much money went into making this 3-master version? I don't know yet, again, because we haven't gotten to sit down and play with it. So if it is that we turn it on and we play it and we're like, oh, like, this is moderately improved, this kind of sucks, that's totally possible that could be the option. But benefit of that, everything else going the way, they want to make money off this, and I understand that. And I understand that it took money to do this and took money to pass it forward. And I understand they're getting less money for Miles Morales. It's a shitty situation all around because you can't make everybody happy. Blessing, am I crazy? Am I super pro corporation? Am I horrible?
I mean, I don't know if you're horrible, but I think my struggle with this is the fact that like, standards are changing. Like, when I look at this, like, I go back to, it feels like they're holding this game hostage. Like, this is a game that was the fastest selling exclusive on the platform. Like, this is one of the biggest games that you guys have released this generation. And
so
like,
if they can just convert 2% of the people who bought that into buying this, they are so in the black.
But my thing is, like, okay, I get that you want to charge for it, but then why then bundle it with Miles Morales? Why not just release it as a standalone thing for $40 or $60 or however you want to do it?
Because then they can say Spider-Man Miles Morales set this sales record and sold this many units, and you can look at NPD and see all the Spider-Man sales bundled together rather as Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Like, it's all that stuff. Again, it's all bean counting. It's all beating your chest. It's all trying to make sure that you understand. Again, this is the reason there's a Spider-Man game, even smaller Spider-Man game, right, at launch for this unit, because they know how successful Spider-Man PS4 was. They want to double dip on that.
Yeah, and I think it just stands in such stark contrast to smart delivery and what Xbox is doing there, where you have games that you own there, and like, if you have the PS4 version, you then get upgraded to the optimized next gen version for free. And like, I understand that every single game and every single publisher can't do that, but like, we're here talking about PlayStation and Spider-Man, and like, something that they have whole control over, and something that they choose what to do with this. And I understand the bean counters. I understand like, hey, yo, we gotta profit. Like we gotta make money off of this. But this specifically, I just feel like with the standards that have been set in place more and more as we've been making the transition from current gen to next gen, this just feels like it falls so short under that bar that has been set. And I think that's the thing that like it very much highlights it. Where if this was like last gen, you know, from PS3 to PS4, and they were doing this, like this reminds me of when South Park Stick of Truth came bundled in. If you pre-ordered South Park, the Fractured But Whole, like this is very much the exact same thing, except like I don't know if the Stick of Truth was like a remastered version or just a port or whatever.
I don't remember either.
Like I don't recall that. I think that might have just been a port. But either way, like it very much strikes me as that, as like I understand that this is the thing that you can do, and this is the thing that is going to that makes sense in a certain way, like in terms of, hey, like why not just give people them together? Like they're part of the same experience, like they're part of the same series. Let's just give people this way to get into Spider-Man Remastered that way, especially if like, you know, the other option is to sell it individually for $60. If anything, people are saving money by getting both of them together. I understand that thought process, and part of me also thinks that that Spider-Man 2018 will probably end up being like the remastered version will probably end up being put on sale like maybe a year later or something like that. Maybe this is like a, hey, let's not cause confusion thing by like having both Spider-Man Remastered and Spider-Man Miles Morales being on sale on the store on day one at launch. Maybe it's that also. But again,
I think more importantly, to interrupt, I'm sorry.
Go for
what
it.
I think you'll really see is Spider-Man Miles Morales eventually drop in price. Like, I don't think you'll see necessarily get broken out. It'll be like, all right, cool, we're bringing it out to whatever that. Because what's Spider-Man Game of the Year edition? Spider-Man Game of the Year edition. I know that's not that much. Geez, buy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see a trailer right now. Yeah, right now you can buy Spider-Man Game of the Year edition at Target for $25.
Yeah,
GameSpot for 40. Yeah, of course. Yes, very much so. Sorry. But I am saying that, like, I think that's what right now at launch, they are prioritizing Spider-Man Miles Morales as the big thing. There's a reason I think that they haven't been very loud about, and this is, I granted we're talking about it right now, and I know, but it's also like the way they've messaged it hasn't been Spider-Man Remastered, guys. This is huge. It's, hey, Spider-Man Miles Morales is here, and if you want the Ultimate Edition, you also get this. But like, Miles Morales is the thing they're selling you right now. Spider-Man Miles Morales is the thing they're pushing. And so, yeah, when you start getting into clunky messaging, when you have to talk about Spider-Man Remastered and all these different things. And I think eventually you'll see the Ultimate Edition come down at least to the price point that Spider-Man Miles Morales Solo is at, because that just becomes de facto the best way to play Spider-Man.
Yeah. But yeah, I get it. Like, to some extent, I think it does make sense. But then to another extent, I'm like, I wish they would go the extra mile and just let people upgrade and do the smart delivery thing and give people a thing to like celebrate and go crazy about.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, like I get the business sense behind it. I want to talk to you, Greg, about PlayStation picks. Of course, this is where we highlight a few PlayStation picks. Where we highlight a few cool looking games coming to PSN this week. I want to start off with the big games. Of course, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. Star Wars Squadrons are both coming out this Friday, October 2nd. Which I think we're all excited about, specifically Squadrons. I know Tim is going crazy about Crash Bandicoot 4.
I said it after that State of Play. Was it a State of Play? PlayStation State of Play? Yeah, it was, right? Where they opened with a whole bunch of Crash Bandicoot, and they showed the like going replaying. Like, I looked at that, I was like, shit, I want to play that. Like, I'm playing Crash. Like, and I'm not like obviously fanboy like Tim is, and I shouldn't say fanboy, a huge fan of it like Tim is, that like is like counting down the seconds to being able to play it. I'm just excited to play it in general.
Yeah. I'm excited about Star Wars Squadrons, as we all are. Like, I'm very much looking forward to trying that. But as far as PSN games coming out this week, Genshin Impact is coming out on PS4. Free to play. It came out, if you're listening to this on Tuesday or after, it came out on Monday, being today as of the time we're recording. Actually came out like last night, because I started playing it last night.
Yeah, you had this. I think we're going to get to what have we been playing, because we're going to have such a great episode. What do you think of this?
Yeah. It's very fascinating, because it is basically a free-to-play Breath of the Wild like game. Like, they describe it in their, like, the game description goes like this, right? You uncover the secrets of Teyvat in a massive open-world fantasy action RPG on PS4, full of mysterious creatures, intriguing characters, and intense battles. Fly across the open world, swim in a massive sea, climb mountains, and stray off the beaten path. Charge head-on into battles by yourself, or invite friends to join the fight against dangerous monsters and discover the secrets of this vast world together. It is very much a, hey, we're trying to make Breath of the Wild, but we're also trying to do like this open world action RPG type of thing. And so when you get into the art style, it is very anime. Like it is all the way anime in terms of like how the characters talk, in terms of how they look and all this stuff, in terms of like the conceit of the story. Like it very much is like it starts off as, I guess, you and your sibling travel across worlds for whatever reason, and like this bad force takes out your sibling, this bad force takes out your sibling and then like seals you away, and then like you're stuck in whatever universe this is in Teyvat. And then like it's up to you to fix things. And so like you go around the open world. They have climbing mechanics similar to Breath of the Wild. They have the glide mechanic similar to Breath of the Wild. Like a lot of stuff that's similar there, but then also they have like a lot of action RPG-ish, more like action RPG-ish mechanics that are more action RPG than Breath of the Wild had.
Okay.
And so like you have like quest systems and different things like that. I enjoyed the few hours I played of it last night. I do want to jump back into it. The thing that's interesting is because it's free to play, it very much has a free to play jankiness to it, that it's very obvious that this was like a mobile game that is being ported to PS4, or at least like co-developed in some way. And so like it doesn't run the best. Like at certain points it's like, all right, yeah, this is what it is. That said, like it has a charm to it that I really appreciate. They have like these elemental things where, similar to how Breath of the Wild had a physics system to where if you light the grass on fire, they'll cause an updraft of wind that you can glide off of, and you know, have these different combinations of like physics elements, you know, interacting with each other so you can do cool things. This game kind of tackles that idea in a way that doesn't feel as like free flowing as Zelda, but in a way that they still try to emphasize, to where you have pyro abilities, you have like poison abilities, wind abilities, and you can basically combine different abilities together, kind of like Spellbreak actually, in a way that causes effect. And so yeah, like it's cool. Like I want to play more of it, but
okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. As a free to play game, oh, there's the PS5 watch.
My bad. I left it on. I have to remember to turn it off. My bad.
No, you're good. As a free to play game, I'll say that it's pretty good and interesting for that. Like, you know, this single player campaign that you can play, like single player big open world action RPG that's free to play, I think is pretty impressive. So I'll give it that. Okay. We also got the Walking Dead Onslaught, which is coming out for PSVR on Tuesday, September 29th. There's no rest when survival is on the line. Step into AMC's The Walking Dead and prepare for an onslaught of walkers as you assume the roles of your favorite characters from the show and confront the horrors and humanity of this apocalyptic new world. Greg, is this one that speaks to you at all?
No. It's not that it doesn't speak to me. It's just that we just had Saints and Sinners drop, right?
Yeah.
Which is great. Obviously, we did we did a sponsored stream for it or whatever. But even before that, everybody told us it was great, and I really enjoy it. So I have a code for this. I mean, obviously embargoed, but I haven't played it either. It was that thing. I got it. I was like, all right, cool. And it was just that thing of like we talked about earlier. It's hot in San Francisco again, and it's like, oh, whatever. And it's like, I don't really feel like dragging out the VR and doing the thing right now for it, which is totally the downside of VR, where it's just like, I don't want to get into all that, you know. And then the opposite, like actually you can see it, I guess, over there in my shot, right? Like I just got the Quest 2, and it's like, you know, so easy to turn that on and be ready to go and into a game or whatever. So then for VR, PlayStation VR, of like, oh man, it's like through the wrong pass through, or I've got a secondary PS4 that I've hooked it up to, but that isn't updated. And yeah, it's like, it's totally not the game's fault at all, even though I'm so lapsed on the Walking Dead TV show that I like Norman Reedus being in this and stuff is like, oh cool, like whatever. But no, I'm not hankering for another Walking Dead game right now, but that's just me.
Yeah, it shocks me that this is coming out so soon after Saints and Sinners.
Yeah,
like it feels like somebody miscalculated something there, or like two teams weren't communicating. They're like, wait, you're also working on a PSVR game?
Oh shit, and yours is out first?
Oh shit, only like 3 months apart. Damn. But yeah, there you go. If that's your bag, it's out Tuesday. And then lastly, Warsaw is coming out for PS4 on Tuesday, September 29th. Warsaw is a challenging World War II turn-based tactical RPG taking place in a war-torn city and sporting beautiful hand-painted graphics. Use everything at your disposal to help a team of accidental heroes survive the onslaught in their home city and overcome tremendous odds stacked against them on the streets of occupied Warsaw of 1944. It kind of gives me like a weird what was the EA original game that took place during World War One?
Valiant Hearts.
It strikes me as almost
like Valiant Hearts.
Yeah. Valiant Hearts and like Darkest Dungeon had a baby is kind of what it strikes me as. But yeah, it looks cool. Like I really like the art style of it. And so if that sounds like a game you're into, boom, Warsaw out today if you're listening to this on Tuesday. Lastly, I want to get into some PlayStation updates. Number one, over the weekend, in case you missed this, Yoji Shinkawa did some really dope art for the Last of Us Day that was going on over the weekend. Of course, Yoji Shinkawa, art director behind the Metal Gear Solid series, works with Kojima a lot. You probably recognize his art if you see it. But in case you missed it, I wanted to point this out on this show because, of course, it's the PlayStation show. Yeah, he did like this cool art with featuring Ellie, Joel, Abby, and like, you know,
so awesome.
Looks fantastic. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. And then number two, I want to point out Fahrenheit, the game Fahrenheit. I almost said Fahrenheit like 15 or whatever because there was like a book back in high school.
That's
Fahrenheit.
not the name. 451.
I know it's 451. Thank you. I was like, oh yeah, 451. But the way the headline's written, it's Fahrenheit 15th Anniversary Edition. Physical release is coming to PS4 in Europe and Australia. I'm pulling from Brianna Reeves at PlayStation Lifestyle. Meridian Games is collaborating with developer Quantic Dream to manufacture and distribute a physical version of Fahrenheit 15th Anniversary Edition for the PS4 in Europe and Australia. This version of Quantic Dream's classic thriller will hit store shelves on an unspecified date in November for the price of €24.99. Fahrenheit 15th Anniversary Edition will come packaged inside a specially created case and sleeve. Within the box itself, customers should find a printed art book, a set of stickers, and a special note from the crew at Quantic Dream. And I just want to say, please bring this to the US because I am interested. I feel like I'm one of the few people. All right, did you dig Indigo Prophecy back in the day?
No, I never played it. And that was the thing is I didn't, David Cage and Quantic Dream and all that jazz wasn't on my radar till Heavy Rain. Like I had heard of all the other stuff, but never played it. And so like, I'd love a chance to get into all that.
Yeah. I, for some reason, played and dug this game. Like I'm really into Indigo Prophecy and the idea that they're doing a 15th anniversary edition. Seems cool to me. And I want them to bring it to the US. And so please do.
Please do.
And then lastly, this is another, like, in case you missed it kind of thing. There's a Metal Gear Solid rumor. I'm pulling this from Push Square's Robert Ramsey, who writes, Metal Gear Solid, the PS1 classic, is being remade again, and it's coming to PS5 and PC. This is according to YouTube channel Red Gaming Tech, which has been known to provide some accurate leaks in the past, although they specialize in hardware information rather than software. Still, according to their source, a source that apparently has a 100% track record up to this point, this supposed Metal Gear Solid revival is a full remake, not just some kind of port or remaster. The source also states that Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, and 4 are also all being re-released, but it sounds like they're set to be remasters rather than full remakes. It's unclear whether they're coming to PS5 as well, or whether they're just targeting PC. And this all came out before even the games were announced for PC, for GOG, late last week. So cool. Like, take it all with a grain of salt. Of course.
God, I hope it's true though. Bless.
Same.
This is we went around the block with this last week on Games Daily, and it's one of those where I hope there's enough smoke that there's actually fire on this, because obviously we've heard for so long, PlayStation's talking Konami and they're trying to get Silent Hill, or they're trying to bring back Silent Hills, they're trying to get Metal Gear, and you look in a week where Microsoft buys Bethesda. And it's this crazy juggernaut of a move, and so different than what PlayStation's been up to. You can toss in Insomniac, but we both know that there's more stuff happening at Bethesda than Insomniac. You get to this thing of, man, is this how PlayStation competes and keeps going this way? Where it is this idea that, all right, Square, Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7 remake, let's have those be console exclusive with us. Let's help you make those. Let's get that going. And so then to go to Konami, who is doing well, is not, making their pachinko machines and everything else, go to them and be like, hey, license us the IP and let us make the game, and you make so much money off of this as well. Plus, we get a reason for people to buy the PlayStation 5. And, in the same breath you talk about Final Fantasy VII, that's a game that's synonymous with PlayStation, the original PlayStation. Metal Gear Solid is synonymous with the original PlayStation. And so I don't know how much of this is true. I definitely know someone inside of PlayStation has started this conversation, whether this is really part of it, whether it's something that got shot down internally, whether it's ever made it to Konami. Someone is thinking about how great this would be to have this actually happen. And that I think would be so fucking incredible if they could come out at E3 next year or State of Play or whatever, Game Awards, whatever, and just be like, just the codec goes off, right? It's just boom, kernel, and like that's all it has to be, right? And it's like Metal Gear Solid 5 or Metal Gear Solid remake, and then a date for 2023 or whatever. Like that would be insane. People would come unglued. And so,
do you think it'd have to be Blue Point that did it?
Yeah, right. It has to be. That's who they are, and that's what they do, right? Like I mean, because it's the thing of like I love Metal Gear, obviously, and I love Metal Gear Solid. I would want to see that one. I'd want to see a 2020 take on that game. So in the same way we talk about Resident Evil 2, of like, hey man, this is the same game, but with a whole bunch of modern trappings and conveniences. Like I don't want it to be from the ground up remake. I don't want Twin Snakes. I want you to, come in and make the game your own, but be traditional with it and see what goes on and what you can do with it. And I think Blue Point's perfect for that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, I think that'd be a fantastic game to follow up with after Demon's Souls, because I think the question after Demon's Souls is going to be, where do you go from here? There was a question we got a while ago on Games Daily, or maybe like a week or two ago, that was like,
feels like a lifetime ago.
They were like, hey, like Blue Point has been doing games from Japan Studio, in terms of these remakes. If you look at when you look at Shadow Colossus and Demon's Souls, like in terms of publishing, right? Like both came out of Japan Studio, even though I know Shadow Colossus, Team Ico, Demon's Souls from Software. And the question was specifically asking about what is the next Japan Studio game you want them to tackle, and like looking down the list, like I mean there's some games there that they could tackle if they want to, but like the big ones that kind of stood out to me were Dark Cloud, which I don't think Dark Cloud really fits in that it doesn't fit in when you talk about, they just did Shadow Colossus in Demon's Souls, and now they're doing Dark Cloud. I mean, I'll love it. I would go crazy about it. And like,
sure.
I'd flip out, but I don't think that necessarily makes sense. And then like the other one that hops out is like Ico, which is another one that I don't think necessarily makes sense for that natural progression, unless they are trying to do like we're doing Ico so that we can now build up towards Shadow Colossus 2 or something like that. But like Metal Gear Solid would be such a great like 1, 2, 3 hit that would put them on another echelon. Like Tim was kind of talking about how like Metal Gear Solid would turn Blue Point into an S tier Sony studio, and I that'd be cool. Like I'd be all about that. I think everybody would be all about that.
Hopefully. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, where you can be part of the show and write in for a little segment we call Trophies and Chill, where we look at your PSN profile. Today, Tavin Boffel wrote into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames with his PSN name and says, just got my 50th platinum trophy in my favorite game of all time, parentheses, and the best game in the series, no cap, Greg, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. My exposure to Kind of Funny sparked my love for trophy hunting, something I kind of liked before, but fell into deep when I became a best friend. Some of the plats I'm most proud of are Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, the Mass Effect Trilogy, and Doom 2016. Also, if you can find it, Platinum 49 is probably good for a laugh because, oh boy, that was not worth it. Oh, I'm interested to see. Then I like this that Tavin puts in. Up next to Plat, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, Sly 2 and 3, Persona 5 Royal, and Avengers, parentheses, if I can get a squad rolling, somebody hit me up. If you want to hit him up, Tavin's PSN name is Tazman1220. That's Tazman 1220, all one word. We have the trophies pulled up on our friend's site here, psnprofiles.com. As you can see, Tasman 1220, level 25 in PSN trophies, 5,428 trophies, 50 platinums on the nose, his 50th being Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, and then 49 Terminator Salvation. Yes, Terminator Salvation, not worth it. But I do have that platinum as well. I'm proud of you for doing it. Then we get into Mass Effect 3, Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect. You did them all in a row. Very cool. Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 3, Lego Star Wars Force Awakens, Control, Fallen Order, Sly Cooper, Odyssey, Witcher 3, Resident Evil 2, Spider-Man, Rocket League, God of War, Fractured But Whole, Horizon Zero Dawn, Doom, Lost Legacy, Batman Arkham City, Batman Arkham Knight, Minecraft, Lara Croft Go, Uncharted 3, Hitman Go, Wolfenstein The New Order, Arkham Asylum, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Uncharted 4, Batman the Telltale series. I was in my head, I was like, I will read to the next garbage trophy or garbage plaque because you have Terminator Salvation, right? And I guess you have but like these are all great games. These are Arkham Asylum, like I said, this is a really good list of games here. Fan of Pain, Assassin's Creed 2. Now I'm just looking.
All right, Lara Croft Go. All right,
the GoPro got severed in here. Ratchet and Clank on Vita. Sorry, first one ever you. Well, that's interesting. First platinum you ever did was Uncharted 2: Among Thieves. Huh, interesting. Then Infamous Second Son, Last of Us Remastered. Fuck. Oh yeah, good one. Huh? Yeah, this is a good list.
Where did he play Metal Gear Solid 3? Did he play like the HD collection?
Yeah, you would have to, right?
Okay, I was trying to figure that out.
I'm sorry, I'm clicking back to PS3. Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
This is a great list, Tavin.
Oh yeah,
like good on I appreciate your next up. I like that you're giving me your next up for platinums here. Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, Sly, Persona 5 Royal, Avengers. That's a hunt. We're all on it right now, right? Aren't we, Blessing?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going for the Avengers plat right now. Very close too. I just need those polychrons. Polychorons.
Yeah, big part of the MCU. I'm surprised you don't remember their name. Ladies and gentlemen, that's PS I Love You XOXO episode 39. Remember, we record this show live every Monday afternoon on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, where you can go right now to, of course, get the show ad-free, but you can more importantly write into the show and get it with the exclusive post show we're about to do. However, if you're not on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, no big deal. You can watch the show each and every Tuesday, 6 a.m., youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe. Like I said, post show to do, patreon.com/kindafunnygames. Blessing, you were fantastic today, and your hair still looks fantastic.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You're fantastic too. It is very hot in San Francisco.
I'm sorry.
I'm like,
have you bought a fan yet for your house?
I mean, yeah, I have a fan that's sitting literally right here and it's been blowing on me.
No,
and
you need
barely
a big
making
boy
a difference.
fan. You need a big boy fan.
How big is your fan? Show me your fan.
It's gonna be a little fan. I can tell.
Yeah, it's this guy right here.
Oh no, yeah.
You need a big boy fan.
I got this Honeywell tower.
Oh,
that's the action right there.
That's what I need.
That's what you need right there.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, we got a post show to do. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you. Amazon, baby, they're never sold out on Amazon.
That's not true. They get sold out on Amazon too.
Nah, never. I got a little remote control back here too, Bless. I can take it off.
Sounds like a
do whatever I want with it.
Sounds like a work expense, you know.